Good evening, everyone, and happy Easter to y'all tuning into the Apex Legends Global Series. Whether you're just coming out of a food coma or wrapping up time with the family, I'm glad you guys are tuned in, locked into the Americas region, because it's match day number 3, groups B versus C. It's also our final online match day before we dive into the ALGS Open in New Orleans. So with the Americas being that last thing, of course, we've got to bring back some fan favorite casters to throw down on all the action. We have Vicky and Genome back together yet again. Vicky, you guys crushed it during the Broken Moon and E-District segment over in EMEA today. Are you ready for more?
I'm so excited. You know how long it's been since I've covered NA? If you watched EMEA, you would know. It's been exactly 9 months, and I can't believe that I'm here once again to cover the Americas with you guys. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, I'm so ready. Genome, you were bringing in all the stats coming through. You were watch partying Apex South this weekend. I'm not even sure if it's 6 a.m. yet for you, but good morning, my guy.
Yeah, no, we're just about to tick over to 8 a.m. I'm definitely hitting up the energy drinks to keep the energy high here because, yeah, it's always fun. But, you know, if I have to get up at 1 a.m. to cast some Apex, then that's what I'm going to do.
He's locked. Honestly, we need to get him a bracelet, like a heart rate monitor, so we can track it during some of the end game hype calls that we get. But before we dive into the action today, let's go ahead and cover some of the changes that we witnessed throughout the week. Oblivion now coming through as the team name. Movistar Koi picking them up. Locked in becomes Team Orchid, which is a beautiful name in my opinion. Stallions locked under the Twisted Minds roster ahead of LAN, and VDR being picked up by Rock. So with that being said, if you see some names that are looking different, just keep tabs on it. Our participants for today, groups B versus C. Now, Vicky, one team in the lobby you think that it has the right to pop off tonight. Who do you think's gonna do it?
I mean, Shopify Rebellion, Koiful, watching scrims, you know, I take scrim bucks, you know, just with a grain of salt, but looking at how Shopify Rebellion with Koiful specifically, I think they could have their breakout moment, and RG FURIA being the top of those scrim lobby that I was able to watch, definitely those 3 squads that I have in my mind, and of course, 100 Thieves. I mean, look at the individuals that make up this quote-unquote new super team out here that we get to see if they could do it again.
Ooh, okay. And Genome, anyone you think is flying under the radar today for B versus C?
Yeah, I think LG probably haven't got as much attention as maybe they deserved after picking up a 4th last week. And, you know, Shubi, Source, and Naughty, they're players that have had solid performances in the past, but never really found that opportunity to shine brighter than everyone else. And maybe the new meta, the Legend Ban system, is actually playing to their strengths, and this is their time.
Well, I think those are solid picks out of both of you. All I know is there's a lot of pressure, a lot of talent in our lobby tonight, and I'm really nervous considering it is the last match day ahead of NOLA. But we do have some storylines we'd love to dive into, so I'm going to kick it back to you, Genome, because I know you've been honing in on a few specific teams.
Yeah, of course, we've got to talk about 100 Thieves. They've been doing fantastically so far, finished off with a 2nd in their first outing here in Pro League. It's an interesting roster put together with 3 LAN winners. You know, Jem Burton was also always known as a very flexible player. So he was one of the first people I thought of when we saw the introduction of Legend Bans to say it doesn't matter how deep we go in a match point series, this guy is going to have a legend to fall back on. And they've certainly been living up to, you know, some of that potential, I suppose, we've had so far. Someone else has been doing that, Virtus.pro. It was a great start to the Pro League for them. Even if it has to be said, some angels came from up on high and like delivered to them the best single zone set I think I may have ever seen out of any team in any Pro League day. They were straight up gifted, but even if that happens, you still have to convert, right? And Virtus.pro definitely did convert. You know, we saw positions like this where they had Godspot game after game, but they hit that and they absolutely juiced them, picking up the KP and whatnot on their way to a very strong finish here. As you can see, that was a 2nd for them as well, and it was a 70-point finish for VP.
great to see how strong they ended out here too in that head-to-head. And some teams that I want to talk about, starting with Unleash, a team that people were looking at wondering, can they do it? Can they bring it up to the table? Well, coming in from the preseason qualifiers, currently in the 11th in the overall standings, they last played during match day 1, showing some hot and cold games where they could show that they could pop off like they did in game 2, where they literally won with 8 kills, but then they died first in game 3 on the same exact map. They ramped back up on E-District though, and were actually able to get like 2 7th place finishes and like a 10th place finish with 6 KP, showcasing that they definitely got it and they could do it again. It's about finding that consistency too across those 2 different maps. Of course, we are going to have E-District once again, and it's not going to be Storm Point anymore for today, so they will have that opportunity to ramp up a lot earlier than they did in that previous map here when we saw Unleashed with Dig, Vlorcy, and Legatron, and of course there's Psycho actually coaching them too, so I know with a lot of history this squad could put something together really nicely. And then of course, talking about nicely, Nice Guys being the second team that I have to watch. Coming in from the preseason qualifiers, it's nice to say hello to RKN again, freshly from coming up from being a dad last year too, and still being able to juggle that and Pro League has been really entertaining to see. They came in from the preseason qualifiers currently in 12th place in the overall standings, where during match day 2, they did get 6 in the lobby, doing way better on Broken Moon, and they got some placement points and a total of 22 KP for those first 3 games. Versus their Storm Point matches, they were a lot more lackluster with 14th, 15th, and 18th place finishers. So again, considering the fact that we won't have Storm Point into the map rotation for today, you will have a lot more pop-off opportunities with Broken Moon being within our last 3 games of our match point series. Now taking a look at the stats within our 2 head-to-heads between Nice Guys and Unleashed. But overall, these 2 squads, I would say a lot of people didn't have them on their radar, and they're performing pretty well right now, pretty above average when it comes to what they could do in a lobby like this.
Honestly, I'm excited. You never know, especially if you're putting in E-District and Broken Moon. We've seen a variety of things happen, not only in APAC North last night, but even in the EMEA region, especially with those niche picks coming out of the APAC side of things, and then just different bans in general. I think in scrims this week, people were even dabbling on the Gibby. Now, very few and far between. I'm curious if we'll see that come through tonight, but you never know. Anything is possible as we work through the adapting into the Legend ban system. But leading into E-District right off the rip, I think it's time that we talk about some of those POIs and kind of where they're going overall in the draft pickups. I'll kick things off with first pick going towards Heights. You have Corinthians who were able to pick this up. Now, I was curious why we were picking this, because in EMEA, a lot of the ones that went through were Street Market, Energy Bank, that realm of things. But Heights can lead into the Edge playstyle slightly just because of its location. However, this is if you're banking on those zones ending in North Energy Bank, which we've had about 6 to 7 of them so far in Split 1. However, in the EMEA region today, 90% of the zones went towards City Hall. So you're going to be traversing a little bit more to the west side of things, but we'll keep an eye out on Corinthians and how they do. But for the next one, we have Empire grabbing Lotus. Sick. Okay, plenty of loot, just really far north. Now, if you are going to be pulling towards some of those endings that did favor City Hall, great. But if we're going down to Draft Point, which the majority of ours don't go too far south, that right? Shipyard Arcade, we don't really dabble to that realm, but you can bank off getting information from the ring consoles. It's a quick loot path. I'm okay with this going first, and how that works out for Empire, it's to be said. So I'll kick it over to y'all for Electro Dan, Biggie.
Yeah, so Electro Dan, that's been picked up by Purple Slushee in the 4th pick. So yeah, obviously highly prioritizing this in their draft. It's towards the north east of the map, and there's some interesting things about it. One of them being that if you do want to play this as more of a fast rotation style, you kind of can. Even though it's on the edge of the map, there's like a gravity cannon that shoots you directly into a big balloon, and you can use that to rotate through into Energy Bank and actually get out towards the rest of the map, you know, fairly quickly.
And then talking about no names, right? NPOI's Unleash get the 40th pick overall, and they're going to be vibing out on Vibe Isle. Now, in all honesty, in my opinion, over to the east side of Energy Bank, this is not a great spot. It has lackluster loot usually, and sometimes they don't even get like an Evo Shield spawn, or rather just Evo spawns, but I have seen really good zone rotations from here. They just are going to have to be wary of the Corinthians landing over in Heights and FURIA landing in Stadium, and just looting those 3 houses before rotating before either of those teams will allow you to at least put yourself in a way better spot to even gatekeep some of these squads depending on where the zone's going to pull.
Those are both stellar. And I love that we see Vibe Isle going last, whereas I believe in EMEA it was Settlement, and they're right there. Both poor loot quality, but the rotations weren't too bad considering what we saw WEH and 10K do, just kind of working onto the south side. Now, granted, we are at the zone algorithm mercy of what we're going to see for E-District. Who knows? We could pull straight towards the north 3 more times because I am a walking curse when it comes to zone pulls. You guys know and love that. But I digress. We have a lot of things to break down before we drop into match number 1, but we're almost done here. But I want to catch you up at home while you're kind of working through some of your Easter candy and what you might have missed over the course of the week. Now, we've seen a lot of drama. I've talked about it last week, and it kind of stemmed from then known as VDR. But now we have the return of Snipe Down off the desk, off the content creation journey, and back into LAN action. Tweeted out, going to be playing in the ALGS Open with your boy Deeds and Vaxlon. Nothing better than playing on a team with nothing to lose. Okay. I mean, we're starting at the tippity top with that statement. I mean, we've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and just some proof to be had. It's not like you're not like a LAN winner or anything from historical, but I do have a clip from scrims, and I know Vicky was talking about scrims don't mean everything, but sometimes they can get you feeling confident. And we heard from MG earlier today on the EMEA region, and confidence is key.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you gotta...
You're fine. They're trying to go to me. Yeah, we can help you, Snipe. We got me. You come back. I'm just trying to get you. No, I'm just better. Jesus Christ, good shit.
Come up.
You gotta come. Stop healing, come up. Stop healing, come up.
Vicky, can you recreate that? Like, we got people filtering down solo these staircases. He's on 40 ping. And my man with the P2020 is that everyone's just using all day, every day.
I love it when people just line up in my line of sight, just going one by one with like no split angles or anything. Just, you know, my P2020 is like, I love that. I love that out here. But you know something else, Tiff, that I personally don't like happening to me, but I love watching it because it's such an apex moment, and you guys at home know what I mean, especially when you have to experience this in your own ranked games. It's something when you have friends like these. Now, for those of you guys that may have missed it, sometimes it be your own teammates that betray you. Oh, your own Wraith portal kidnap while you're in the middle of popping a Phoenix kit. Then the slight panic after the realization, can't take the portal back, and then pops the syringe too late before accepting their fate and then looking up to the skies, because what more can you do? A very unfortunate reignite friendly Wraith kidnap, but you know, sometimes things happen here, Tiff. And aside from what we saw with Reignite, we also have a few updates, right? Looking at APAC North and what we've been seeing over on the APAC North side of things. We saw a few highlights here between A versus C. We actually got to see Team Sudden take the game in a very strong fashion. So much KP to their name. I believe they had like by the end of this, like over 13, 14 KP. And they were just cleaning up everybody with the P20s before sliding in and then taking the game. And that's not the only thing we saw. We also actually got to see Groups B versus C with Eurese's team coming in, Reject winning this entire game and having the positional advantage. Look at this, the pixel of your foot just poking out before finding those shots with the P20, Havoc in hand, and having the high ground positional advantage is always where you want to see, Tiff.
You really do. And I love how you said my name after the Wraith portal, Vicky. That was kind of brutal. I'm not gonna lie. Not that I've ever done that to you, but I may be known for it. You've never done that. Yeah, definitely never me. But Genome, I know you watch Party to APAC South and you come with all the updates. Let's hear it.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think like some of the other regions as well, we've had some some teams coming out that we might not have expected to take the dubs here, but it's certainly a team that we've seen good things from in the past. So as we get into that footage, we'll get to see some stuff here from Keep Going Gaming. Previously, this is a team that has been like on the cusp of qualifying for LAN, and of course the great thing about the ALGS Open is that all of these teams, any pro league team, can get over there and will be competing. So Keep Going Gaming, they're hoping to qualify for the mid-season playoffs with this very strong performance, but at the very least we will see them in New Orleans, hopefully. New Orleans, I don't, yeah, look, American cities. Anyway, the other team that did very well was Green Stego. So in our second series of the game, they came out very strongly both times. They had a slow start and a fast finish, and that means that they're going to be on top of the leaderboard now. The other one we should point out there is Lonely Let Gone. They had Xiaoji, a new player that we haven't seen before, but a phenom. This guy was an absolute beast. 30 plus kills, one of the most dominant days from an individual player that we've ever seen in Pro League.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, we were talking about the KP poll over in EMEA with Uchako being the like cross region at 31 kills from their series, but Shoji comes out and it's north of 31. You're just like, what is next? If we're setting the bar at that level only after the first 2 to 3 match days, it's kind of crazy. And if you missed out in the EMEA region today, well, it was Team Nemesis that took the overall dub on the day. We interviewed Zuni at the end, and it was just really good to hear from people gearing up for NOLA and that ALGS Open. But chat, hear me out, guys. I want to set some things straight here with Face It Watch, because it's the best way to watch Apex Legends Global Series your way. There's a ton of features that just keep on improving with the functionality. I know that if I ever want to do a watch party, it's one of my best tools to go ahead and get that map feed up, track rotations, see what people are doing. And I always look into the Comp Apex Reddit and kind of their Discord group, and you can see that they use it all the time when it comes to the map stream to be like, hey, just what happened to that team? Why did they just go rogue and go over to like Thermo, and next thing you know, they're down and out? But now you can create clips from it. You can listen to the comms, track your favorite teams your way with Face It Watch, and who knows, pull up your own watch party. But guys, we had a good fun with MG, right, on the EMEA region. Well, today we're going to be having Blinkser for our halftime guest. So I'm going to open the floor to you at home. You guys love to chat across a variety of social media, so please make sure that you guys are tagging us, because we are going to be having the What Does Chat Think segment. And if you've got questions for Blinkser, which, hey, you guys might. We've seen some really cool ones. Everyone was talking about the aura that MG had early in the EMEA region. So give us all your thoughts, the good, the bad, the ugly. We want it. You know what we also want? We want a game one, and we want to go back to E-District. So Vicky, Genome, take it away.
Thank you so much, Tiff. I always love seeing a more map diversity, legend diversity. Genome, we're at it again, now this time in the Americas. And watching scrims and the last 2 match days for ALGS, I've been noticing for these different regions, the priority of legend picks have really been influenced by this different map pool. But it's even more interesting to see how certain legends that we see so strong within EMEA or the Americas are some of the last legends that you see within APAC.
Yeah, there's been shifts between regions, absolutely. I mean, you know, Newcastle being the first ban versus like not getting banned at all in some other lobbies. That's just wild. Ballistic is creeping into the bans now, when at the start of the sort of legend pick meta, we never saw that at all. Valkyrie was banned in APAC North after game 5. You wouldn't expect that. Now, North America, where obviously the scrims are probably the most highly publicized, I suppose, out of any of the regions. So we do have a better idea of what will get banned here. And in E-District, you know, we're expecting things like Newcastle, maybe an Alta, depending on how aggro these teams get, you know, a Crypto or an Ash in there as well.
100%. Let's get this started. Day number 3, match number 1 here within the Americas, groups B versus C. I love how you highlighted the Alter too, especially after seeing some of those changes come out. I feel like Alter is such a strong legend. And you know what? Matching that together with an Ash goes even harder out here too. It looks like Team Orchid is just going to be rocking the Ash, Crypto, and the Catalyst. Catalyst, of course, being the other strong legend that we see, especially when it comes to some tricky rotates that you don't want to find yourself in.
Yeah, it's just, especially towards the end of the game, having a Dark Veil in some of these open areas, you know, if you get a lot of the final zones on E District happen to be in the canals and these little open areas between the POIs. And often you just don't have any cover. Obviously, most teams are going to be running Newcastle because it is game one. So you will have that cover. You'll have your castle walls. You'll have your mobile shields. But in order to get from one spot to another to start setting that Newcastle utility up, that's where the cat wall comes in clutch.
Sorry, I'm watching all the altars that we got out here too. About 14 or so here, looking at a lot of catalysts, but also looking at where the zone pool is taking us, Genome, over to the southwest side of the map here. NRG already on their rotate, calling in an evac tower as they have that ring console and that survey beacon here. But it's about which of these squads are going to be able to find some place here over to where that zone is pulling, because Nice Guys also moving from Viaduct, taking some shots already at Leave No Witness that are probably off of that low ground lip where you could sit in Viaduct and just look down at the squad that may want to rotate from the backside of Street Market.
Yeah, I mean, teams with priority moving very fast here. As you said, you know, 3, 4, 5 teams already down past Viaduct. Meanwhile, the other teams who realize that they won't get first pick of their spots in this final zone, yeah, they're just taking a little bit of time. They're going to pick up an extra Evo Harvester or 2 and make sure that they are a little closer to purples when they make their way into the zone. And that way it gives them a chance to sort of bully some other teams with that sort of mid to late priority.
Meanwhile, though, looking at FURIA already getting a knock with the 30-30. See the pings coming out here too. I love the high octane action that we're already seeing. And when I was talking about Vibe IO, you know, moving around and how quick some of these squads are when it comes to their rotate, FURIA already exiting out from Stadium, ACP right behind them, but it was a fight for what looked to be the ring console here. So FURIA will be able to get that information while so many other squads, like you highlighted, Genome, have already made their quick rotate into that next zone. This really leaves only like 6 or so squads outside of where that next zone is pulling, because everyone has been able to get a read on that circle console.
And something I'm just sort of thinking about as I look at this this composition from Complexity here with Ash, Cat, and Newcastle is that you have such versatility, right? And that's what gets taken away as we go further and further through the series. Ooh, Jen Burton getting knocked somewhere there. Interesting. Not a great start for 100 Thieves. But as we take away some of those legends like Newcastle, like Catalyst, all of a sudden your team composition becomes a bit more sort of one-dimensional, right? But if you have a look at these team compositions, they can kind of do it all. You can use Alter to get aggro on another team. You can use your Newcastle to set up in a spot and just play Turtle. It really is a more well-rounded composition in these first few games of the series.
I agree, because you also are able to kind of do something defensively but play very aggressively with one or the other, whether you're looking at Newcastle or Catalyst. You can try to get the res here while Dig Vibes trying to get away to keep Unleashed alive. We're talking about them earlier and already in a lot of trouble. VP in the distance too. VP get taken out. And Nice Guys now move in after what looked to be the 3P here, cleaning up this full squad. Sang, we highlighted Nice Guys. They're down 2-0 duo, but they're up on the high ground of Viaduct. And with all the altars, you have to be careful. But the ballistic is also a problem that I had to highlight within the EMEA region.
Some teams only want to pick up ballistic as a last resort, not Nice Guys. They want RKM, the crypto specialist, to get out there and let his 2 teammates loose as he chases them down. But as you said, Rampage, I don't know, is that enough to scare off all these other teams? That's tough for Nice Guys who find themselves very much in center zone.
Oh, when I hear a Rampage charged up, that's your corner, that's your line of sight. Like, you could have all of us free real estate. Like, I'll go somewhere else until you burn right through that, especially when it comes to ballistic and when he's in his ult here too. But FURIA are able to now rotate up on the high ground here. You did see that res coming in earlier on top of Viaduct, and ACP also making their rotate after utilizing their own portal nexus. So a lot of these squads now, which are doing what they need to do on the edge of the zone, going to be able to see if they can get closer, deeper into that southwestern side. FURIA and the line of sight have so many other squads shooting at them when they were trying to take that evac.
Yeah, so they're gonna hit the negative rotate right now. Actually, does FURIA have the ring info? Yeah, okay, you can see the green circle on their mini map there. And yeah, with Keon getting sniped as well, that's a little bit rough. They've got the Void Nexus though, and this is just a beautiful thing that even if you get separated from a teammate who's knocked, you can get back together. There's still hope.
Big here after getting literally shot off of that jump tower in the line of sight of like 2 different teams. FURIA are going to be able to get that reset, and this is what I mean when I talk about Alter being so strong on E District. You get to reposition, and of course that portal nexus. You can have 2 up at the same time here. And it's about the repositioning opportunities to also try to reset, because none of these squads want to fully ape you unless they know they have the opportunity without a possible 3P pushing in on terms of timing. And now with the map overview and looking at where the circle is pulling, look how many teams are sharing that space over by Viaduct, over to the north side of Viaduct. I like where NRG's position is. They put themselves in a spot where they could really try to isolate one team over to their left side, but without giving up too much space, they're also going to be able to try to pepper in complexity, so that way complexity doesn't try to rotate onto them.
Yeah, and I think the issue with this next ring is that, as you can see, there's big dividing walls in the middle of the zone, which means no matter which way this zone ends up shifting in the next ring, you're going to see a lot of kills happening around those chokes as teams have to start to move, north, south, east, west, whichever way it ends up favoring one set of these teams.
Must be nice looking at Leave No Witness to have the Valkyrie that could go through those walls, though, by the way, especially when you have the higher Apex on that Valkyrie ult. But then looking at what we could see some teams try to do as a risky play here, you try to find their own rotate. But Energy will be in a really good spot where they could go to either the left side of the wall or the right side of the wall. While we take a look at FURIA, full blue Evo still. Let's jump into a listening with FURIA.
Evac in here. Can we kill one?
Yeah,
Can we
yeah.
kill last? Wait for last.
Yeah, last. Newcastle.
Now.
40.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't
I'm
know
throwing
if we
TP
can
here, just guys.
I don't think we can do that. It's like way too long of a cross. We should just keep moving to Neon.
Yeah, let's go.
We got Evo for that. It's fine.
Cross is kind of hard here.
I can catwalk if we need.
I'm just. Can you guys get my queue here?
Yeah, we can just use the queues.
It's gonna take a little walk this way.
We're chilling. It's not a big deal.
Maybe we just hit UAV here and move. Like,
I feel like we should try to get zone scan first.
okay.
I'm gonna control UAV building while you guys. Well, actually, I have to key. Never mind. You might want to control UAV building. Knocked.
Yeah.
I might go upgrade my P2s on light. Not gonna lie. Hey, zone scan.
All right, so we see FURIA actually not decide to take that fight, which is very interesting considering there was no one else around them and there was quite a bit of time before the next zone would close in as well. So a very safe option there for FURIA.
Yeah, honestly, also trying to prioritize, trying to get the upgrade on the P20s there. I heard from Madness's comms, they wanted to prioritize getting ring console too. Now they got the survey beacon, so they see where everybody's positioned by that choke. That's 100 Thieves, by the way, that they see on their mini-map. 100 Thieves taking some shots at Empire, so they also hear the shots going through. So playing a lot more safe and patient, it looks like here.
Yep, that's the route that FURIA want to go for now, but they will be running into 100 Thieves very, very soon. 100 Thieves also looking at Empire. They might be able to slip past them on the other side. I guess we'll just have to see how that one shakes out. Meanwhile, a little further south in the street market itself, we've got Shopify Rebellion looking at 9 lies.
I'm not gonna lie, I clenched for Zyanu there. When I saw the 30-30 and the G7, I was a little scared, but Shopify, they stay alive, they stay healthy, and they will be able to get the mythic bin even bigger here for Shopify. FURIA will be in the distance as they make the rotate past 100 Thieves. But first, Shopify now have to look at both FURIA and 9 Lives. After now being able to get the mythic bin, they will be able to use the portal nexus next.
There's that void gate opens. It'll stay open for 8 seconds if you do decide to follow a team after they've taken the void nexus back. Purple Slushee, as we mentioned earlier, starting off at Electro Dam, so this is quite a hike for them. That's why they are further towards the outer of the circle here. Nearby is MPIRE.
Waiting in the distance here. MPIRE have now rotated over to the right side, away from 100 Thieves and away from where FURIA had tried to rotate to, closer to the edge of that northern zone. Now looking at Unleash and Purple Slushee. Purple Slushee just waiting patiently. They had called in the altar queue. See if they could try to push into this building. Look at the catalyst spikes though. Completely taking control over this top floor. Now looking down to see if the squads that are waiting, but eventually they will have to start moving now in the next 3 seconds.
Over there.
Okay, Purple Slushee pushing in. They've got the probably more enviable position here in that no one is on the back of them. Now we get a look at 100 Thieves, who held the position. It seemed like they were going to have some fights with teams, but maybe it's the creative alter rotations, but people finding ways around them in what would typically be a choke that other teams have to go through. But until alter is banned, it does seem like it is easier than ever to find your way from point A to point B on E District.
I love oh, huge nade. And then the Newcastle slam from Anru. Needing some help though, took a lot of damage before on his way in. They get the knock with the initial nade here onto Riley. They trade it off for the P2020 showdown, but don't ignore your right side. The catwalk coming up just a little too late. Future now just down to a solo, and what could have been a very strong start for this team now falling right before their eyes, with MPIRE now just fully trying to reset.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard the other team to reset here. I think 100 Thieves have looked like they're trying to take the scraps of this and get unleashed. Purple Slushee now completely removed from the lobby, and there are the 100 Thieves. Okay, so looking at this zone, as you mentioned, NRG, their spot down towards the bottom of the map, very, very good. We also mentioned how often it ends on these little canals between the different POIs. So this one between Street Market and Viaduct, again, that seems to be where it's heading.
This is huge here for NRG. They called it out so early too. That's why they positioned themselves on the south side. It's also the path where they were going to be less challenged, looking at the teams that may have wanted to rotate from the north side. Look at the chaos that is happening over by Viaduct. You have ACP, you have CTE, LG, Orchid, Spectre, Nice Guys, all within the vicinity. Corinthians also looking at the teams from the outskirts of Viaduct. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves now moving in, looking at Fusion. Let's jump into a listen-in with 100 Thieves.
Catwall.
Zone.
You have to fight them.
You should catwall the wall. Catwall is on them. Go left.
Yes, there.
The catwall. Keep coming. Keep coming. On them. Yep.
Nades.
I'm gonna die.
You're
good. Yeah, mech it. I like mech it. Dropping one. You need to keep walking up. With tap. Yep. I'm gonna keep forward Q. Yeah, I'm gonna keep forward. Wait for thermite. I'm snaking it. Going forward. Going. Front. I'm dead.
You not have attack?
No, I died before I could use it.
Yeah, you can't attack, bro.
Yeah, but you have to Q them.
I literally died so fast. I literally died while attacking.
Phony truly feeling the spirit of Easter, sitting on those nades like it was a bunch of eggs. Very unfortunate here. 100 Thieves get eliminated. Spectre meet them back in the lobby, and Shopify, MT's got a Kraber in hand, misses out on his shot here. But I was seeing Koifel blow up the kill feed earlier on. Seeing this position that they're currently in right now on the outskirts of this next zone, they put down the portal nexus, so they want to make their next move here. Nice 150 here, shot on the Kraber.
I mean, you know, they're on purples and golds already, so it's not like they need the damage, but certainly searching for some kills. If you can find the 210 on their headshot, without helmets now, it's easier than ever to get the one-shot downs with the Kraber. It's Zainu, however, who finds the scout shot onto Trev Stacks. And Shopify, they're right in the middle here, but they're not quite in zone. And that actually makes this position quite precarious.
How are they going to be able to see with so many teams fighting over to their northeast side? I mean, now's the opportunity here. They see 9 Lives, NRG also trying to fight off 9 Lives from trying to move into the edge of their side of zone. Envy, though, has seen Orchid get eliminated in the feed. 13 squads left through the cracks. Dropped with a nice Kraber shot, but doesn't get the knock from afar. They cannot give up this high ground space. 10 seconds left before that zone starts closing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that wasn't a collab there from Dropped. And gosh, if you wanted to look for it, certainly his teammates could drop on top of this. They're exposed, but a little bit of AD strafing is going to hide them from that. Then they take the Void Siphon straight up. You just have to be so ready when Alter is in the lobby. Teams can just get on top of you in the blink of an eye.
Literally will catch you slipping. You have to be careful there too, especially when it comes to coming in from low to higher ground. Such a great repositioning opportunity for Alter. Now Envy moving in. I mean, look what FURIA just did right there. They had used the Alter twice to get through the top, over to the high ground, and then to the side when they felt the pressure. Now they try to get out of there from line of sight. LG now moving to start the fight. Shubi gets a knock. They trade it off, losing on Saucer and Shubi next. LG get eliminated. So much of this chaos collapsing on the northeast side of this map.
Envy had a fantastic week 1. If they back it up here, they could be on top of the North American Pro League by the end of today.
It's gonna be huge here. Envy now moving for the opportunity, but Sykes gets deleted on his way, climbing up on top of the crates. They have the Newcastle drop, tries to get the res now. Backs against the wall here of the zone, but these P20 shots landing on these heads. He needs some light ammo though eventually. Luckily he is on the Altar. He could try to scoop some from a death box right in front of him. FURIA eventually get eliminated in 8th place.
Yeah, and you can see, even though this ring is still sort of fairly large, there's just not many spots to play because you cannot play down there in the middle. You just can't. You have to delay that inevitability as long as you possibly can. Complexity, however, will have one of the best spots up here on the top of the bridge. And not only that, Monsoon, the sniper specialist, has got the Sentinel in his backpack ready to crack some heads.
And he's going to start putting down the pressure, too, at the teams looking to try to take their spot. Envy now move up as a duo. Drop still having that Kraber. Needs a big shot here. Walter Q right at his feet in case he needs to go all the way back down. And now the portal, rather the circle right behind him, is closing in. Like the rotate opportunities here, but they're pinched between 2 other squads. Big 210, but they're still getting looked at by 9 Lives. It's really up to Zap now to make the magic happen.
And he gets Zainu down. Nice. I mean, he was so unlucky that that player had red armor, so he got the 210 but didn't actually get the knock.
And the fact that he was still alive until then right now, NRG get eliminated. Shopify now inch their way forward after seeing 9 Lives get hit, but still don't want to take the risk. Catwall for catwall, wrapping around on the other side of where Zap was.
Okay, Zainu as the catalyst has the prerogative to push through that wall, whether it's his or the opponent's. His teammates can't do that, so he needs to use that ability to get some information for them. MT on the Newcastle is ready with the res, and he'll pay with his life.
And we have our last 2 squads are match number 1, and 9 Lives was able to get the first knock onto Complexity. This leaves only Monsoon and 9 Lives come in to sweep up what is left of Complexity before taking match number 1. Also, fully utilizing the Catalyst as we've seen in this lobby, Genome, and that's why Catalyst had 19 teams pick her.
Wow. Yeah, okay. I think that's more than Newcastle, right? I think Newcastle was up at like 18 or something like that. So yeah, interestingly to see that might be the first one banned there. Let's have a look at the first match results there with 9 Lives taking out our first game. 20 points for them, backed up by Shopify Rebellion. Obviously, you've got the marriage of an amazing IGL and amazing fraggers, and that's why they get the spread across both the placement points and the kills there, unlike Complexity, who did rely a bit more on their second place.
Yeah, playing a lot more back too. You saw Monsoon had Blue Evo for quite some time now. Looking at our top 3 squads, though, of our match 1, 9 lives, 20 total points here, 8 total kills. Meanwhile, Shopify, though, still able to get 10 KP, the massive amount of damage here in total for this squad, to try to match that very closely to 9 lives. And even Complexity out here, too, from afar. Unfortunately, Funk didn't get any kills, but it was about that second place finishing here for that squad.
Very, very nice there. So yeah, look, a fun little first game. It ended very quickly there at the end. I mean, as we mentioned, there was not a lot of space to play, and that's even with Newcastle, you know, creating barriers, as well as Catalyst creating, you know, extra playable space with the catwall. So interesting to see how that first game played out.
Yeah, literally catwall marking an X here on what was left of that zone. And that's just the first game of E-District. We still got 2 more to go. Game number 2 coming to you on the other side of this break.
Welcome back, everyone, to match day number 3, groups B versus C. And what a stellar victory right there from 9 lives. And honestly, Vicky, you and Genome crushed the cast. I was kind of looking back and I was like, where was 9 lives prior to this match day? And it was their only performance that we've seen thus far, obviously, was a 10th place overall in the day. So to kick things off with a win on E-District here, I like it.
It was huge, playing off those little low ground houses too, and I believe their POI is Resort, so making their way over there and being able to find some spots to play off of when we saw so many teams over by Viaduct was difficult.
It was, and it's so funny because we were just talking about our POIs on E-District with the draft ahead of match number 1, and I was specifically talking about the team coming out of Lotus, and I was like, look, if we're going to see some of those City Hall endings or maybe those energy banks, not going to be bad rotations. It's only bad when you have to go all the way south. Well, if you can win coming out of Resort, you're doing just fine, considering we had so many teams kind of collapsing on that north side, where it was Complexity that had really cleared out that southern side of the zone from Old Town. I'd love to go ahead and pull up the final circle yet again in case you at home missed it, or we can kind of find something that we didn't see initially while casting it, because, yeah, sorry, sometimes you gotta let those hit because MT's just trying to thread the needle right there.
Man, he hit a few of those too. It looked really nice out here, especially right there, right through the cracks of the stairs. Always feels nice getting these shots, but man, it's so irksome whenever you don't get that initial knock there too. But then after making the Ultra Portal, we saw a lot of the action keep it going. Envy now continuing on the domination with the Kraber getting the initial knock and still trying to take these fights. But this is where a lot of the chaos happened, Tiff. We saw all the catwalls coming up to help some of these teams reposition when they were down to either a duo or a solo.
Ooh, Cersei up there on top, and Envy just could not get out of there. I do respect Zapto and what he was able to do trying throughout this, But sorry about the red shield right there. Unfortunate, even with you hitting him for 210 and the inevitable double cat walls. MT, I think, got 2 reses off towards the end because we saw Koifel, I believe, go down just before this, and MT had already picked him up. So continuously getting those resets. It's moments like that, Vicky, where I'm wishing I could have had the comms of what MT was screaming.
Right, just to hear like how chaotic it could also sound there too. I mean, especially when you get your Craver shots as well and you're trying to make a push onto something, but you don't get the initial knock. But then you have other 2 squads watching you at the same time. It's been fun to watch the action play out on E District, especially with some interesting rotates utilized by the Alter. Now moving on to game number 2, though, on E District, we say goodbye to Catalyst.
Yeah, goodbye, Catalyst. This mirrors exactly what we saw in match day number 2 for the Americas region, but we had started on Broken Moon, and still it was Catalyst that was going out first. So goodbye, no more dark veils, no more piercing spikes, and if the same vibe is to be had, we could see a potential for Newcastle or Ash to go out next, which is interesting because we were talking about this in EMEA. APAC North last night, no Catalyst got banned and no Newcastle.
Man, it's so crazy. Meanwhile, like Newcastle and Catalyst are some of the 2 first legends we say goodbye to within EMEA and the Americas. And Ash, of course, you add Ash to the mix here. We're going to see which of these legends we'll see go away for game number 3. But for game number 2 now, not having the Catalyst really kind of allows the Newcastle to shine through. So that's kind of what I'm expecting going into this.
You know what I'm expecting? Vicky, one day to register for Challenger Circuit. Considering it starts May 24th, you have plenty of time. You're telling me all about your time playing ranked with Graceful. You and I both know and love Draft Point solely because of that man. So 100%, I think you could do work there.
Listen, Draft Point, it is honestly such a good POI. It also allows you to get some great rotates. It allows you to actually split the POI if you want to land there for ranked and split that with another team. There's a lot of opportunities right there, but there's also a lot of opportunities for our squad that just took game number 1 within 9 lives. Again, with AKP2 really starting themselves up strong here for our first leading squad. It's about getting to that rotate quickly, though, is what I want to look at, because their pathing from Resort over to that south side of Viaduct was so incredibly quick.
Really was. And now with the Catalyst being banned, you're going to start seeing some other legends come through. Vayne here, Newcastle still keeping that one in, but we're swapping it in with the Rampart across a large majority of our teams. A couple Caustics here and there, and even the Rogue Fuses coming through. Honestly, a lot more Fuse earlier on in the Americas side of things than we had seen over in EMEA today.
That's going to be interesting, right? Because then you get to stack up on those nades. You already have the Alter in certain compositions like Shopify Rebellion. They have the Alter and the Newcastle, so they already have that support and recon that you could work off of. So kind of get that double scan if you need here between Fuse putting in some pressure, Alter kind of helping your team rotate with the Newcastle together. And we are going back down to the south, but this time over to the southeast here, closer to Humbert Labs.
Okay. I mean, we're just going to give Complexity a lot of easy rotations and niceness. I mean, 9 Lives, they proved that it doesn't matter if you're on the center of the map or all the way south. Like, we are winning maps out of Resort. So we're going to just go just a smidge further on that rotate, and maybe we'll get to tap in and keep more eyes on how they managed to get there so quickly. But Complexity, you do have that survey beacon. I'm looking to see, did we get a ring console? Are they going to know that we need to sit there? Because when we were talking to Zuni at the end of EMEA, I was like, hey, you know, you're in first place going into game number 6. It pulls your POI, your drop spot. What did you? He's like, dude, we weren't even able to scan by that time. So it's like we just based our information off everyone rotating in, and you can see NRG moving from Shipyard. They hit the evac. Spectre already going as far south as possible, and Fusion and Unleash kind of wrapping around.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's been the biggest indicator for the teams that don't have that ring console available to them on their POI, just seeing how quick so many other squads have already gotten ahead of the curve at finding their spot into where they see the circle is going to be pulling. So that's kind of like the hint that some of these teams could really take advantage of, as you could already see so many squads already making their way over to Humbert Labs ACP. Oh, scrims, all right. looks like we had some issues here with the lobby, and we'll be able to look at where our next zone's gonna take us here on E-District TIFF.
Yeah, sick. I mean, maybe we didn't want to go to the south. That's understandable. I can only curse so many endgame zones because I was looking at the timeline after match day number 2. I know Genome was talking about how VP got 3 insane back-to-back-to-back pulls of the game last week, and I saw some people talking about it. They're like, how did that even happen? And I was like, it was me. I'm the problem, Vicky. It is.
You're cursed. I mean, remember that time when we casted, we had like the same zone pool. What was it, Climatizer twice?
3 times.
Didn't that happen to Echo HQ too, or did that not happen on Storm Point? Okay, yeah,
It just consistently happens. It happened on LAN. It happened in my first ever ALGS broadcast. I'm all right with that. But from my understanding, we just want to make sure that everyone is in the lobby and it is a fair game to be played here in America. As we talked about this being the last match day online before the ALGS NOLA LAN, and everyone's going to get all of their practice and all things in.
Especially with all the changes that we've had to see, right? Going into this pro league, I was getting a little nervous watching you guys cast and talking about the legend bands, because this is a really big overhaul compared to what we've seen within ALGS over the last few years. So not only introducing those legend bands, we have an entirely new map pool too to pick these maps from.
I know, new legend bands, new map pool, new city that we're going to be headed towards. A lot of our Apex players across the globe have never been to New Orleans. So let's go ahead and throw to that teaser trailer of what is to be expected while we get that lobby remade for y'all. Target greatness. I said it earlier and I'll say it again, that New Orleans for Apex Legends is going to be interesting. There's nothing quite like Apex Legends on LAN. If you've never been there before, I think this is the perfect time for you to drop on down. 160 teams, so much action, legend bands in person, E-District. So go ahead and get that QR code signed and grab your ticket today. I won't be there, but I am hoping that for all of you who are not from America, have never had beignets, can get all of the good food and all of the fun times for Apex.
That's the best thing about New Orleans is literally the food, shrimp po' boys in general, the beignets, great coffee from Cafe du Monde, and of course, the best Apex action you could find yourself in LAN. And again, like you mentioned, Tiff, there is literally no experience than attending an ALGS LAN, because you get to sit down in an arena full of so many other fans that love Apex, that love ALGS, that are following their favorite player stories, and to feel that energy in the crowd, to hear everybody scream for their favorite players or teams, that energy is so contagious.
Are we going to get another dupe moment at LAN? Because, man, I know everyone was already talking about it. We are ready. We are waiting. While we get this lobby situated, I do want to kind of refresh up on the POI draft that we had witnessed. So let's go ahead and talk more about it, considering all of our teams from the northern side of things. Yeah, they had fun in match number 1. Complexity from Old Town. Look, they had that southern side cleared out, and I thought we were going to see a massive game from them, but that's all right. It didn't necessarily pan out for them, but there's so many more games to go.
Yeah, the fact, though, that we had a little sneak peek of that second southern zone, like, imagine Complexity kind of eating up between the first 2 games, now wondering where that next zone could take us to, but Complexity kind of, you know, shaking it off, seeing where they could go to next, but also talking about 9 Lives, who have been able to now move from that resort side all the way down to that southern zone in that first game. Was quite impressive after we were able to see teams like FaZe trying to hold off some other squads, 100 Thieves holding some other squads off, over to that northern side here too, when it came to Shopify finding their own space and then trying to gatekeep FURIA originally.
True. And before you say anything where I'm like, oh my God, complexity, I thought you were gonna do something massive. Yes, I understand. They got 13 points. I just thought they could have won that. So that's where I was going for with that as we kind of look through the 9 lives, 8 kills, 4,600 damage. We lose out on Catalyst. Honestly, I was trying to do the math. Do you think that we were gonna lose Newcastle based on the preemptive of what we saw? On that, yeah, I think it was 18 picks in game number 1, but I'm not sure what we got in game number 2. But who knows? Time to rethink it if you want to.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like because just Newcastle is such a strong legend to have on your team. Not only can you make up your own space, right? You make up your own space. You could get that res with the knockdown shield there too. You could get the regenerative health too at the same time. It comes in clutch so much. The fast res too on top of that. So it helps your team really stay grounded on where they feel like they need to hold off other squads if they don't have their space first. Since we're seeing a lot of these teams quickly rotate on E District, we see some other creative rotates with Alter. It's very necessary to be able to have that Newcastle wall. Also, loving these little flybys on E District. All right, let's get started here for game number 2. Thank you guys again for your patience.
Oh, and everyone coming on in. We see some Blossom Drive. We know 9 lives up in Resort. We got to spend some time with them, but let's run it back. Let's see where our zone algorithm decides to take us as we get a good look at McLovin, Vayne, Cersei. Always good to see Vayne and them doing well, especially after that match 1.
Oh, yeah. You're making that rotate, utilizing that jump tower right there, too. You can already see they're going to be able to get some split loot. They have the Lion Ammo Armory right here, too. Get that free upgrade on a P20 if you can't find a second one already. Gives you a free second P20.
I was like, is that what we're waiting for? No, he's getting the G7 scout. I was gonna say, hang on, like, we all have to roundhouse it and wait for the P2020 to spawn back in. Get your P2020s here.
Take up anything we need out here for 9 lives. And I do want to highlight something, Tiff. Something interesting has happened.
What is it?
The zone said, psych! We ain't going to Old Town. We're going all the way to the northwest side of the map, the complete opposite corner.
Stop, I'm waiting for a scan, but we're gonna pull it up anyways. Okay, so we do see very similar. Now, if you think back to EMEA and you were here, you were watching it, you had your Easter brunch and you were like, all right, I'm gonna tune into the ALGS action. Well, 100 Thieves missed out on 3 back-to-back City Hall endings. Okay, well, maybe we wanted to bring some of that vibe to them here in the Americas because you can see that now. Team Orchid already hits the evac tower. They know exactly where it's going based off that ring console and are situating themselves as close to 9 lives as humanly possible. But they do taper off and position in between where Shopify and 100 Thieves has kind of got space.
Oh, man. And look at this. With the way that they're going to be able to move up, MPIRE also taking their time exiting out of Lotus, which is a big POI. It takes some time to get the loot that you need here, too. But Purple, Slushee, LG, everyone is on their way. Frame 1 out here while 9 lives finally coming out of Resort. Seeing VP 100 Thieves here over to the side. Shopify and Envy probably going to try to collapse on each other there because I do know there is a ring console. So the fight for some ring consoles is also a possibility here because once you commit to this rotate here, Tiff, it doesn't look like City Hall has a ring console available to it in that middle section. You have to try to bank on going all the way north over through Resort if you want to take your time, or closer to where you see that evac tower called in by Envy.
I think that's what's going on with Complexity as well. They're like rotating out of Old Town and filtering through Shipyard where a ring console is. So we're going to see them get that information and be able to be rotating on in. But based on the reset, they've got a heck of a long way to go. And Purple, Slushee already throwing down the motherload, P20s in hand. That blue mag, just ready to add to the tally on Apex Legends status.
Put another one on the board here. Purple, Slushee. Maybe a Sophie Tucker fan out here. Moving that way. Seeing where they're going to be rotating here. See the pings as well. And hearing the fighting in the distance because they're slowly approaching VP. And right behind VP is going to be LG, CTE as well. Ooh. Yeah, they heard them. They want to back away here.
You see VP. 1 purple, 2 blues on the inside. But at least with Newcastle still in the mix, tons of playable space across the way. Now, granted, we were seeing 13 teams available with Ring 5 starting to close, and we lost out on about 5 or 6 teams in game 1. but it took a while. At the start of round 4, we had only lost out on one team. That's what I love about E-District.
Yeah, you have so many teams that survive until what, like round 4, round 5 is when we see everything collapse on one another. A lot of these teams that are forced outside of these buildings where you could coexist now forced into the open, where we have been seeing a lot of these canal end zones like Gino had mentioned before, and that doesn't really provide you a lot of cover, especially if you don't have a Newcastle to work with, which we do here, luckily, because he's not banned just yet, but that's what you could expect to see on E-District.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple legend compositions that we have that are just the most popular in general. It's Alter, Newcastle, Rampart with a 50% pick rate. Alter, Fuse, Newcastle, 25% pick rate. And Alter just being that real viable space maker for them. Plus, when we mentioned all the changes that she had received ahead of Split 1, that's just so viable. So jumping on NRG here, you've got that Alter, Rampart, Newcastle. So interesting.
Yeah, being able to pick whether you want to be recon or support. Okay, no, those out here when you have the Rampart and Newcastle. NRG now taking some shots. Lovely shots here from Yanya with that 30-30. Peppering them down from across the field. And this is going to be an isolated fight, too, between NRG and ACP.
Over at NRG Bank, I just called it NRG Bank as if they owned it instead of Energy Bank. Like, let me just tell you, when you have like one last brain cell fighting for a chance here, but you do have the amped cover, so we're increasing that damage straight onto the 30-30, but we have to think, what is Timmy calling for here when he's looking for space? No, we're gonna upgrade our P2020s. Watch my back.
And technically, you're not wrong. I mean, Energy did hold their ground here over by Energy Bank, but ACP have now completely kind of rotated, wrapping around the other side. See what's going to happen and transpire between these two teams, while also looking at the action with Shopify. MT is going to be able to reset. Meanwhile, Orchid is inside the building right across from them. They were able to hold them off. Rambo being on White Shield and on the Caustic, too.
To be fair, I like this position out of them. I really do. And I love that we got to talk to Rambo last week and then seeing them get picked up from Orchid. And I saw Hambino kind of talking around the community of Apex today. He's like, you're telling me on Easter Sunday I'm playing crypto? Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, that's what's happening right now.
We get to see everything, and nothing is amiss here. Especially on a holiday, right? And then Shopify, we're also feeling a little pressed too, because in the distance, I did see that Pony was able to get a knock onto one of the members of Shopify. They get a reset. No one's going to fully extend it onto them. And then we get to see Nice Guys with their rotate, trying to cut off this squad right ahead of them. I love these shots. A charge up Rampage ready to go.
My beloved. Whoa. The fact that we just got bamboozled right there is Alter. We're waiting. Let me in, coach. Let me in. I've got my P20s ready to happen. Cody just barrels on through. Let's see what's waiting for him on the other side. It's going to be fine, right?
Oh, it is. Nobody waiting for them on the other side. Where?
Oh, okay, RKN. Pull out that drone. Let's go hunting.
Wait, Sang is literally 1 pixel of health right now. He is running for his life. Well, Cody is hungry. Cody has not stopped running. It doesn't matter if Sang is 1. He is chasing down January. Oh, and then he gets turned over. Are you serious? He gets away. Now they have to spend some time maybe trying to see if they can get the reset, but Arcan does not want to let go of this KP.
Arcan, you ready for this? You gonna try? I mean, look what January is to Cody. I mean, Sang meanwhile is looking for the pickup at RKN.
No way.
He's got that dad confidence now.
They're spending so much time chasing after the straggler. I want to know what January did to Nice Guys right now.
Sometimes that R9 though, that R9 hits.
That's when you got that little slight high ground advantage. Shooting heads for free. January actually got away right now. Nice Guys realizing they've taken too much time. Wanting to look to see if they could get into the edge of that next zone.
What is it with Nice Guys wasting times and that's unfortunate, but January is like, I don't even have time to heal. Finds a dark corner on E-District, some back alley, and will now have to go on a massive regain. I'm looking for replicators. I'm hoping for good vibes, but in the meantime, Complexity on the outskirts, just ahead of where Nice Guys is. So into the drone we go to do some research on where they're potentially lurking.
I can't believe January got away. As a solo now for Fusion. All right, we take those. Nice Guys now getting peppered by Complexity, who have the high ground right behind them. But Nice Guys do have circle advantage. While this fight is going down, the teams that do have that next circle beacon have already noted that the zone is going to be pulling a little bit more north side to where you currently see Nice Guys in Complexity.
Okay, Monsoon. Work that rock. Take that angle. Grab that head peek.
Ooh.
Just looking for toes.
And G7 is one of my favorite weapons in all of Apex, by the way. One of the first weapons I learned how to play the game with.
That says a lot about you. I'm okay with it. I like what I'm hearing, but it's fine. At least I prefer the G7 over the 30-30, so we are
100%. And then you get to see FURIA still now as a duo. I did see Noct getting taken out in the kill feed earlier. Madness trying to let the Sheila sing, making sure no one's going to be able to hide behind cover, behind any doors. The replicator is right in front of them. It's rather tempting, but there could be a squad right across them. Meanwhile, the fighting has not stopped. It's Nice Guys. They move in. They find a pick onto Complexity. They get another one, and they take out Complexity entirely. I get it from Cody, from his perspective, Tiff. It looks like Cody is out for blood right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to feel something after that chase from to January, who is still rogue on E District, but if we're going to charge it up, you might as well. I know Ash did get patched just, what was it, a week and a half ago, and they made her slightly slower, still incredibly viable and so fun to be witness played. And when people just do it and time everything right, Corinthians though, speaking of time and everything right, those med kids to perfection.
Kind of getting gate kept right now. Empire is waiting for them on the other side of the zone. Oh, but he's so low. Noting that Lord of the Rings is out trying to back away to see if he could reset. He didn't even take a chance. He called in that portal nexus and he is out of there. But Corinthians now trying to meet up on the other side with their own portal nexus aren't even going to take that fight versus Empire. They're just going to end up rotating away from the chaos, trying to go in through the choke that purple Slushee is going to be holding now.
Pretty respectable. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation when it comes to these choke points. So I prefer if you can stay healthy and give yourself some more time to fight. Now, will Empire zone wrap them? That would be a wild call. I don't think we'll see that, but you will get that fight between Purple Slushee and Corinthians. And as we see that circle start to move further, Nice Guys are going to put themselves in a solid position. They're probably going to have to fight Unleash, and we'll have to keep tabs on if Shopify Rebellion will push in. Can we talk about where January went though, Vicky? Because Fusion's roaming on the south still.
I mean, the fact that January has been keeping the dream alive. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and if you bring your whole squad in, at least in the zone, now you can try to reset. You have an Evil Harvester on your pathing and 2 support bins, so we have to tune in to what Fusion does next later. 9 lives though. Your winners of game number 1, holding it down with the Newcastle. Bow check in hand for McLovin.
Oh, hello, McLovin. More of that, please. FURIA elsewhere has gotten knocked back. And you mentioned he had gone down earlier. I believe it was the hands of Saucer who'd picked up that kill. So 1 KP point to that squad and back to a full 3 stack for endgame. Now, with round 3 closing, this is very similar to what we had witnessed. 19 squads still alive until we see this fight here. The EMP goes off. Cody really low, has to dive into a nearby shack behind the storage container.
No way. Look who's gonna wait for them on the outskirts of the zone right now, Tiff. Oh, they may get their revenge. We have to see. It is Nice Guys getting pinched with Fusion being on the other side. LG trying to be the other side of the sandwich. Fusion forced to back away. Nice Guys now take over against their fight versus LG, and they're not alone. Unleash is there too.
Oh, Shuby with the wall slam. Comes out a bit too late. Sauce down into a death box. Naughty on the ground as well. And look who's nearby. Fusion does go down. Nice Guys kind of being pieced apart, and we do see a reset come through on Naughty, but we're going under fire from multiple angles. It's not going to end well here.
Well, ain't no way. You got 3 teams like shooting at LG's Newcastle walls, unleashing every bit of ammo that they have and destroying that ult. Meanwhile, Envy got the altar. Q gonna try to take it up, but you want to try to mix things up too at the same time. You don't want to be so one-dimensional here. You got the 2 altar Qs right in front of them. Well, you could currently still hear the pings. They want to keep moving over up ahead, see where they're gonna go to with all the fighting happening in front of them, but Leave No Witness are still right next to Envy right now.
I love this. Envy, top 3 performance on match day number 1. Want to keep that consistency going forward, and VP second. almost a first place on match day 2. They want to answer back for that. They've already picked up a couple KP here, but we are looking to anchor down on the southeastern side of the zone where they have 3 teams looking to jockey for the same position, but plenty of loot, a Newcastle wall to hide themselves. We just have to maintain consistency here.
And you have also like 5 squads outside of zone that are trying to force their way into your line of sight, into where your building is on their rotate. Spectre, Energy, CTE, ACP, Nice Guys now looking to hold back LG. Energy now trying to fully extend it here. Timmy getting some shots with the P20. Doesn't like the trade here, so he's going to be able to go right back to the high ground, while Jen is going to be able to get that knock onto Shubi. Yanya missing some of these shots. Timmy comes in to clean up what was left here, leaving only Guild. They want to prevent this res from coming out, so you let the Sheila sing before the Ultra Q helps them.
What just happened? Sometimes you just gotta get Sheila a couple more bullets.
No.
But wait, I was like, we are painting a frame around this man. Spectre Esports down and out. No time to get Timmy back in before we have to hit the road going. A solo chance for us. Unless... Can we get him?
Oh, yeah, we can. And your Rampart, too. You get to build up some extra cover here. They're going to be trying to get the reset as a duo. CTE get eliminated. VP in trouble. Lou's trying to use the portal to get right back inside, and he does get away, while Slayer is also able to get the knock on 201s.
Okay, back to VP, all 3 up. We do love a good player advantage considering where we are. You do have a solo of Nice Guys out towards your west. You're going to have that duo of Energy to your east and maybe a team behind you. So I'm liking the numbers, what we're seeing, and honestly, Team Orchid getting a bit of an org buff right there as they just absolutely body Shopify Rebellion.
I mean, Orchids are in season right now. It is spring out here, so Orchid now getting some extra KP to their name in that isolated fight. Nobody there to 3P, but 100 Thieves did hear it, and they are looking out for Team Orchid until they eventually have to rotate into that next zone here in the next 30 seconds.
Ooh, some good free cams. You can see where Orchid is. We saw some 100 Thieves who at one point was dead center of zone. We know the power of high ground and VP. Trying to suss out if anyone's across that way. But with as many altars that are still in play, they can easily move. And Zach on the hunt, PK in hand, swings all 3 of them, connects for some damage, but look, they're gone again. And who gets costed? A Mazer moment.
Oh no, right when you feel like it's safe, but everyone's looking at you at the same time. That's free real estate for Purple Slushee to move right in and let the P20 sing. VP get eliminated. 9 squads left here, and Purple Slushee now also being able to take advantage of the Rampart walls from the opposite end for their own gain.
Okay, Pluto, not giving up. Find the knock onto Timmy. On move. Being reserved here, staying with the team, staying healthy, but able to put down pressure, mother load, knuckle clusters, incoming nades. I mean, think back to when we were witnessing Alliance. I think they had 5 nade indicators on their screen at this point in time in EMEA.
That's another great thing about Newcastle, of course. Just gonna be able to zap up any sort of nades. Onmu tries to get to cover. He managed to get right behind the rock, which is some press fire from Future. Now lets a P20 from afar just get the next knock, and then you're gonna have Onmu just slide in from the left side to keep up the pressure before they try to drop down.
Not electrified no more. There goes the tether, unleashed down and out in 9th, and Purple Slushee continuing their reign of terror as they work this entire circle. I feel like they've got an inkling there's a solo nearby them, and we haven't been able to kind of isolate them out. But for now, when you're controlling that side of the circle, it's Jen Burton on the other side who tries his hand at their own Sheila.
And being on the high ground with that Sheila too, they're gonna be able to get this res onto Phony. Purple Slushee, meanwhile, still harassing Empire now, right behind the truck. Make sure they have no opportunity to try to wrap up on the other side. They are also looking at 9 lives here, so Purple Slushee now moving up from right behind Empire. They get the next knock, and they get the cleanup. Beautiful arc stars here for Pluto.
It's a massive game from them. North of 10 KP. Oh, more nades. This is just an infinite nade glitch, it feels like, for me. I don't want to know how many they have. There's still more in the inventory, and EMP's coming out right above 100 Thieves. Orchid on your right-hand side of the screen. Live No Witness just ahead of them. And Gen, they finally get Phony back up on their feet thanks to Verholst, and we're really guarding out with Sheila. If Orchid tries to hit a swing, we are going to be able to answer back with 142 rounds of pure pop power.
It's about sending a message. Just looking at that laser, you know that you can't peek even for a second, but you have to keep up the pressure, and you look like a chameleon looking for both your left and your right at two different teams while trying to still take space.
Keep an eye out. Jen's doing the best he can. Ambino goes down elsewhere. It's Purple Slushee trying to take even more KP if they can get it. Put the pressure on the rest of the lobby. Stack numbers in their favor. And finally, we move to the center. We move to the high ground. And we've got more nades.
And we saw the Sheilas too ringing, taking out Jen as well. Purple Slushee now moves in. Future is the first to get taken out. Pluto has a slight high ground, but the PK shots, a two-pump from right behind him, leave him one. Amu now sets down the Newcastle wall, looking down at the teams right below their feet. Our last three spots between 9 Lives, Purple Slushee, and 100 Thieves.
And 9 Lives, your match one winners, all three up. Kind of crazy when you've got Purple Slushee down to a duo. 100 Thieves just behind the mobile shield, looking to heal up if they can. The 3v2, V2, and McLovin trying to take down a fortress.
Grinding Verholst trying to get up on the top three here too. 9 Lives, Vayne going down. Cersei being the last one here to keep the dreams for 9 Lives, but another great look for 9 Lives. Now it's Amu, he's literally won. Cersei now getting clutch, he can no 9 Lives, they get the trade here. 9 Lives. They do it again! In such a one pixel of health moment, 9 Lives take game number 2 with the back-to-back.
The back-to-back. They were not happy with that 10th place in match day number 2. I know Vicky's like, dude, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the kind of chaos that E-District brings. This is what... God, you're going to get this on LAN. It's going to be brilliant. Let's go ahead and pull up the match results so we can see just how many points they were able to acquire in their back-to-back.
The way that the camera just like cut off on the other side, like Purple Slushee, are you guys okay? 19 kills? Like you just casually coming into a Pro League day, cleaning up a majority of the lobby. Like that is insane here. Purple Slushee. They got the wrong memo. They thought this was pubs. They just kept holding forward and it worked out here for Purple Slushee. But 9 Lives with the back-to-back win. What a heavy-hitting team, though, looking at our second-place squad, Purple Slushee. 100 Thieves right behind them with 4 KP. But looking at our top performances, I mean, when you see 19 KP on the board, Tiff, you have to take a look at who's been racking up that kill, and that's going to be Pluto with 11 KP, Future with 8 assists. We saw him with a bunch of nades, too, ready to go, as well as Pluto with the 2.7k damage.
Is that the real MVP? Is it the nades at the hands of Purple Slushee? I mean, they hailed from Electro Dam versus 9 Lives Esports, walking into the City Hall ending from a resort aspect. So much shorter rotation for them, but still with the series results, you can see we're going to lose out on Newcastle next. And just a 6-point differential after a back-to-back win for 9 Lives Esports. Purple Slushee, a heavy-hitting match. Oh, we're just getting started. We just have one more game of E-District before we jump on over to Broken Moon, but I want more action like that here at the ALGS Americas after this break.
No, これは2部隊。ただ01が圧倒的有利なポジション取っている。ただ3人ともハイグラウンド取り。そのキドトロプ残り1枚。ユカペロデターに託されました。ベージティアで前に詰めていく。01がチャンピオン獲得。RRX 落とされてますね。オーブガーデンに。オーブガーデンのファイト、そうなるとアルデムチャンピオンあるぞ。一番フリーだ。外に出てきたオーブガーデン。ファイト勝ちきれるか。オーブガーデンが先にやられる。アルネブは生存した状態。さあアルネブ初のそのテルミットニュービーアインがボムを落とした。これで戦況変わってくるか。こうなると蒼天も先にアイン倒す判断になりそうですよ。はい、アインは後ろをつくような動き。さあ前にいた蒼天を先に倒したビッグアンジェルブラザーズ。いやアインは さあそうなると01が圧倒的有利か。ストライダーズも南に対して圧力。
こっちで全部やり合ってくれると01が有利になりますね。
中にいた
重ねてますよ。
アルネブが狙われる格好となったか。リドローダーアルネブ全滅戦のこれに舞台。01と
ストライダーズ
ストライダーズ上を取ってるのが01マンドック。さあ012回目のチャンピオン獲得。このチームビッグハンギョロブラザーズが上を取るような格好となった。奥にいたのが TIE。 さあビッグハンギョロブラザーズ耐えられている。アルネブが落ちた。
RRX も落ちてますよ。
TIE そして RRX が下にいる。 TIE がこの位置でどうヘイドを向かせないか。さあただここは押し切って RRX 取り切りました。 TIE 残り1枚海ちゃんラムチ。しかしハンギョドンブラザーズ受けている中でエンターフォース圧力かけに行くか。
かなり削られてますよ。中
に一気に入っていった。 SBI を取り切れるか。ただ残り ED のみです。エンターフォース落ちてしまう。
残り3
下から装填。 UB もダメージが甚大。残り1枚か。そして SBI との真正面のファイトになる。さあ残り1枚。次はさあイグルーを挟み込み格好で装填。
Sony InZone, the official monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Nine lives with the back-to-back dub. What a performance we've seen thus far, but it doesn't go without notice. Purple Slushee just playing the game here within the OTS and getting 19 KP and a second place finish, Gino.
Yeah, I mean, 19 kills in a single game is pretty gross. Can't lie about that one. Yeah, that's incredible, especially in North America, where it tends to be a little bit tighter and harder to just roll through a lobby like that. So, you know, spreading them out across, but 11 kills in particular going to Pluto, crazy.
Insane too, and we saw them running the Ash, Fuse, and Newcastle composition too. So a plethora of nades to work from, hailing from the skies. While we take a look at the final circle, I did see that Jen had gotten a knock using the Sheila in the feed, but then we also saw he got knocked by a Sheila from somewhere else there too. I believe it was from LNW. So between that and then the crypto EMP coming in, it was so much happening behind the center console here for 100 Thieves to deal with too.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. You saw them, like, you know, just locked in that that small space down below, just trying to hold people out with a shield up. But I think something that happens when you get more and more ramparts in a game is, like, people are really expecting it. So it's actually very hard to catch them off guard with the sort of inbuilt drawbacks of Sheila, which is that you move a lot slower, you got the laser coming out, so you're actually quite predictable with the Sheila, and pros tend to be quite good at playing around that.
Man, the acknowledgement from Cersei to also slide down and then try to get that knock was also very impressive here too. Just being able to get that and get the trade, nonetheless, you were able to basically get the 2 KP that you needed, that you didn't have before, because they won that game with those 2 KP that we saw right there in the final zone.
Yeah, exactly. Just coming off the back of that is, yeah, look, really impressive. And, you know, thinking about where they are sitting in the series overall now, you know, 9 lives on top. So let's see if they can continue that into the rest of E-District.
Yeah, we got one more game on E-District before we make that transition over to Broken Moon, where we see some teams have a lot more difficult of a rotate, getting through some of the chokes over by Broken Moon, a lot more open space. You're more prone to getting peppered from afar between the 33s and the G7s that we see. When Monsoon's in the lobby, you have to consider the snipers in his hand too. So maybe looking to see if you could try to wrap up one final really good game here on E-District for the teams that feel a little bit uneasy about Broken Moon.
Yeah, and, you know, considering the POI drafts between the two maps as well, I think most teams were prioritizing E-District, if I recall. I guess they're sort of just saying that, you know, the POIs are a bit more balanced across Broken Moon, and therefore it's like it doesn't really matter which one you get so much, and therefore most of them are going to go with a first round pick onto E-District.
Yeah, and looking at the legends thus far that we had Catalyst banned game number 1. Now we're going to be seeing Newcastle banned for game number 3 after game number 2's action played out. So we get to see how that's going to play out into Newcastle not being in the mix alongside Catalyst. No way to get out of the line of sight of some of these squads here other than maybe trying to take a more rotational approach for legends, which has been interesting too because you also take away the ability to get that bunker down that we see some squads now utilize the Watson for too.
Yeah, Watson coming in, I think a little less interestingly in North America, right? We saw a lot more of Watson over in EMEA, which is kind of funny when you think that all the way back, EMEA were kind of prioritizing that playstyle basically as far back as ALGS existed, right? So back-to-back dubs there for 9 Lives. Awesome to see that from them. But yeah, certainly leaning more on the Rampart here in North America.
Isn't that great to see how the different types of playstyles across so many different regions have varied with these legend bands too? Whether we see the Ash band next, the Altar perhaps here too, going on to E-District, and the Rampart that's really been able to secure some of these spots. Not as great as Newcastle, but still allowing you to control space with that Chi that comes in clutch. Once again, our final game on E-District, and we say goodbye to Newcastle next.
Yep, Newcastle is gone. Of course, you know, a lot of the Ramparts were coming in to replace the Catalyst. So who's going to come in to replace Rampart? There's not really a one-to-one replacement for him. He does occupy quite a unique niche in Apex gameplay at the moment. You could say, you know, oh, you could put a Gibraltar in, you got bubbles. Like, yeah, sure, but the bubble lasts for, what is it, like 16 seconds or something like that. It's not a permanent fixture like you can hide behind on a Newcastle wall, even though we've got so many damn shielders in the lobbies that it feels like most Newcastle walls don't even stay up for 16 seconds.
Man, I'm still reeling from the end of the last game, Gino. I'm not going to lie. Like, that 1 HP difference was so insane. I mean, those are the best moments, too, when you clutch out your own Apex match, your hands start shaking, your heart is beating out of your chest, and you're just ready to go in and ready up for the next one. It's great to see because 9 Lives, I mean, with the back-to-back, they're ready to try to see if they can secure maybe a third one here. But we have to look first at Purple Slushee. They were farming the lobby in our last game. 19 total kills for them. And now we get to see a little bit of a different look. We have the Lifeline, Fuse, and Ash.
Lifeline for Purple Slushee. Okay, they say. All right, you take Newcastle away. We are going to try out something completely different. And yeah, as MG Clutch was telling us earlier in the day, there's very few forms of fully destructible cover in the game. And it's funny because, you know, Lifeline's care package, which obviously isn't in the game anymore, was previously one of those. And you'd see people occasionally try and like block people into buildings by calling the Lifeline package down in front of the door to block them in. But now it's Lifeline's Halo, the new ultimate that replaced the old one, is one of the ones that can't get removed by crypto, even though we're not seeing as many cryptos in this lobby. But yeah, also the fact that it's just such a good reset tool.
You just threw me all the way back. I remember those grieving plays out here. Maybe you could use a Moby instead now as kind of like that makeshift cover, but now you get to see Panic trying to chase down Phony. He gets the crack, he gets the dash, and this is why Ash is so scary to deal with. Phony can't even get away. He gets picked off by Panic. Not gonna let the opportunity pass him by, and they even have that next circle information, as you also saw in the map overhead, where this zone's gonna be pulling. One of Tiff's favorite that she had highlighted from the beginning, a zone that we've actually seen twice within EMEA earlier today. Looks like it's pulling close to City Hall.
Nuts. I can't believe that we got a glimpse of something different for once. And then we just immediately restart the lobby. Oh, it's not going City Hall? Better press the reset button.
It benefits the squads that are going to be able to already hang out here. 100 Thieves already bunkered down. Team Orchid ready going to be able to get that information off the survey if they were able to get that there too before moving up. Shopify over all the way in the back where they have a ring console. Complexity in some trouble though. Kimchi gets deleted. Doesn't have the opportunity to put down that barrier in time before Yanya slides in to get that pick.
Hunting for the rest, and they do. They find Monsoon just hanging out here, and NRG hoping to finish off the rest of Complexity, but it looks like they've already scarpered. They've made their way all the way to Old Town. You can see Funk is well off in the distance right there, and he should be able to grab a reset. There is a crafter over at Old Town.
Yeah, time. EP looking afar. Seeing a lot more fuse too here. Saw it in the last game, but seeing it again here for game number 3. Some 30-30 shots coming in from Zach Mazer. Triple take though right behind him is going to be able to burn through his shield. Another fuse out in the distance, and this is why Alter is so good. Probably going to see Alter, honestly, be the next legend banned here for E-District, which works out not really as utilized on Broken Moon as we've seen on E-District. Nice nades here, though, getting that initial crack. And here you go. You force a way in, but it actually sends him up instead of inside the building.
Oh, yeah. Did he know that? That's the question, I guess. FURIA trying to sneak in behind the rampart walls, and Madness... The P250s, nope, that's a different game. P2020s here, they're so good at cutting through shields, and you can see that, you know, even though he's only got a second, no troubles whatsoever getting the full kills there. But yeah, as you say, Crypta, Alter, with 17 picks so far, 85% pick rate here on E-District.
I was gonna say, I thought you were about to hit us with the P40s, so that's what we've been saying, but I guess you multiply that by every player in the lobby. Gonna be able to get that res here. Also the reset too. See Chase up on the high ground, looking at SCCP in the distance. Corinthians not going to be able to give up this space, but also looking at the team that is holding on to height. That's another thing about E-District, Genome. There's so many open windows, so many different angles that you can get poked from, and with the time to kill being so fast now, you literally see your shield burn before your eyes.
Yeah. And, you know, the buff to the 30-30 as well. We were seeing that take down quite a few people. You know, the fact that you can, like, I think a fully charged headshot with a 30-30 now does something like 110-ish damage. So it's insane. You can more than crack someone. You cost them more than a bat with just your opening bullet.
So the pings from FURIA while they make their rotate now. Wanting to prioritize maybe getting zone information here because nobody is in Neon Square at the moment, so that leaves open a ring console for them to hit. And after listening into FURIA's comms in the last game, we know that that is something within their priority when they do rotate over through Neon Square. Distance, I do believe that was Leave No Witness behind a rampart barrier that were taking shots at them as well. There you go. Here's the overhead where the zone's going to be pulling to the north side. And Genome, look how many teams have already found their space in that northern zone. They called it out very early on too. Being able to have that ring console, allowing them to share some of the space that we're going to see so many other squads do the same thing. Whereas you have LG, ACP, Complexity, NRG, even you could say Nice Guys, they have the opportunity to go through the northern choke away from FURIA instead of trying to completely commit to the rotate through FURIA's side. But it allows them to get in some poke pressure if they can, if they only had access to that one Evil Harvester to try to boost up those Evil shields.
And Nice Guys are one of those 3 teams that don't have access to Alter, right? So yeah, they do have to be worrying about the chokes, but right now it looks like they're worrying about FURIA as they might be running into each other.
Try to collapse here in that fight, and while they start fighting, it could be isolated with Complexity, Energy taking their time, outside of that next zone. They were trying to find Unleash, by the way, that's still in the zone, it looked like. And currently, Nice Guys, Cody, who we saw so hungry in our last game, trying to chase out a straggler, is able to get the knock and finishing blow onto Madness.
Yeah, and sure, Cody doesn't have the sling, but he does have the rampage in his hands and infinite ammo, of course, during the ballistic ult. It means he can fire it without fear. Anyway, they got the 1 kill onto Madness. Complexity did get the reset and the respawns during that time. They could potentially be next to run into FURIA. And I guess another thing we should mention is with the double win by 9 Lives, they need to win 1 more and they actually get a bonus point, which could be important, right? Because at the end of this week, Vicky, however many points you're getting in Pro League, even across all of the other regions as well, determines your seeding for the ALGS Open.
That's absolutely huge. So it's more than what these teams are doing within Pro League that could affect their placement and their positioning within the Open. So also getting word here from production that Na'Vi had achieved 2 bonus points last week by winning those 3+ matches in a row. So bonus points being added right back here for this year of ALGS. Gives 9 Lives something to work for.
Yeah, they got 1 bonus point for getting the 3 wins, and then they got another bonus point for being 50+ points ahead of the second place competitor, and that's actually the harder one. A few teams across the history of Pro League have managed to get 3 wins in a day. But there's been like only 1 or 2 others. I know Reignite did it like way back in APAC South when they were absolutely shredding that region before they moved to NA. So there's only been maybe 2 or 3 teams who have ever managed to achieve that.
Yeah, they were like farming that lobby too. Talking about Na'Vi, actually, I remember like 70 to 40 something there. So very difficult to achieve, but getting those 3 wins in a row is definitely the other flex here in a lobby like this in America's. Complexity with Funk looking ahead. 30-30 though, gets beamed, having to back away. Looks like there's a player right in there. Okay, we're able to get away actually right now. Yeah, that was his teammate. Complexity's gonna be rotating over to the southwest side of this next zone. Nobody's gonna be meeting them on the choke. So as long as they keep rotating right now in terms of timing, they should be fine. They won't have any path of resistance.
So zone closes in, they go for the choke. NRG look like they're going for the more southern choke, and they should both make their way into zone safely. So 20 squads still alive. Zone 3. Wouldn't see that in scrims, would ya?
I mean, with the amount of teams that we're seeing out here too within, when we watched EMEA within E-District, so many squads still alive. And look at where this zone is pulling. On the outskirts is the Mythic Bin where ACP is by. And FURIA have been able to get that reset too with Madness coming back. Look at this with Corinthians now also rotating from the south side here. They'll have a little bit of advantage over by that survey beacon too. And so many squads are going to be able to coexist in some of these buildings.
Well, they'll have to, won't they? Because that's exactly where the ring is going to pull. Once again, it goes down to that sort of middle slash, southeast part of City Hall. Shopify a bit too far north. But those late rotating teams like Complexity and NRG especially, could look for, maybe just a slam for Godspot and try and take an ugly fight, but it could net them a good position.
Well, leave no witness. They set up the portal nexus and they're going to be able to get the res. This is the clutch factor that having the altar really helps out as the foundation of a squad. Leave no witness are going to try to get that reset here. And meanwhile, the fighting has not stopped on multiple angles, by the way, of this next zone. Complexity now get the knock onto RKN. They reposition utilizing the altar Q to get up onto the high ground here. The EMP from afar, probably just trying to help them stave off any of this extra pressure. Then they get the next knock onto MPIRE. And again, just highlighting how many teams are here close to Complexity. It was MPIRE, Nice Guys, Envy here too.
Yeah, Empire don't want any more of that, so they'll take the Void Nexus and head back north. As you can see, Complexity have the option to follow after them, though it is quite risky pulling off that maneuver. So instead, they'll just have a look over here, see if they can see where Empire ended up, and potentially take an evac towards zone.
You're in view of the enemy. Oh, setting up the portal though. Be careful, right behind Envy. Sends out the nades. The EMP comes out. Forces Panic, huge nade onto Panic. Having to be careful, he didn't have the Q to get away. It was on a 1 second cooldown next. Leave no witness after resetting in another bad situation.
Ooh, okay. Tries to find his way underneath. He's going to be fighting for their lives behind this amp cover. I mean, yeah, it's a nice little spot recognition there, finding that spot in the sewer where I guess nothing but Alter is going to be able to get in and on your back.
Looks like they're still alive too in the feed. Meanwhile, the other fight here over from Complexity. This is where there's like 5 teams piled up on top of each other. Shopify, Complexity, Empire, 9 Lives, and Monsoon can't land these 940s, these P40s rather, and Shopify Rebellion as well are able to clean up what was left of them. They come right back in the portal. Nexus try to see if they can try to get this res onto Koi while looking at the squads ahead of them, because again, there were so many other teams within the vicinity. With him coming right back to the rest of the squad, Empire are not going to be taking that portal, and they will all be able to reset here with 9 lives, just isolating them on their own building.
Whoa, leave no witness. Now that the glass is gone, it's all too easy for Envy to take those kills. But Sykes, come on, mate, get out of the death box. Your teammates are being knocked.
Need some help out here. FURIA now slide in. Knocked gets the following knock. See if they can look right behind him before trying to go for the res with Madness going down next too. Knocked is only up to him here from FURIA. The Motherload has been called in from the Fuse. Looking to see if he can try to get this res here or try to at least take the Portal Nexus. Yeah, he wanted to take the Portal Nexus instead. He's going to be able to take it now. But is it safe here? There's a team right on top of him.
And you'll see teams start to do this now. If they see a Void Nexus just out in the middle of nowhere, they won't necessarily look for kills. They'll camp the Void Nexus in the hope that the team portals back to it. They know they're in dire straits if they're portaling back to it, and they just get free kills if that's the case.
And that's what we saw basically play out right there too. ACP now, the squad that was on top of them now overlooking Corinthians. Gonna be able to side in. Nice guys get eliminated in your feed on top of that Motherload that is ACP's, helping them out here, putting some extra pressure and building up that space. But the Alter Q once again allows them to reset, dropping down below.
Shopify picked up 6 kills so far, so looking to push the KP and get further up in this lobby. Virtus.pro, such a tough spot. Looking around at how many other teams are popping ults near them. Getting a reset here would be pretty special from them.
And while VP are also fixated on looking at 9 lives, waiting for them in front is going to be Fusion down here in the middle console. VP get eliminated. And the fighting has not stopped up on the high ground with NRG entering the fray. They got their in by a little late, and Yanya come in and clean up what is left of ACP. Yanya going a little crazy this game, so is the rest of NRG with 8 KP.
Guild, good as always, but yeah, Yanya, it does feel like has been trying to prove a point this year. As they do try and work under the tutelage of Timmy. Certainly newer than most of the IGLs in this lobby.
A lot of changes going around here too for Yanya. Making it work. 9 lives, losing out on McLovin. It's gonna be reset with the med kit, and Orchid are right there on top of them. Rambo's still on blue though. And looking at Fusion, who have the double red, the 1 blue here too. Shopify playing off that low ground of LG's building. Right on the other side of where we had seen Empire, and they're still in that next zone in the corner of that building. Full Blues is a problem though, looking at LG.
So many nades, so many knuckle clusters coming in. The fuses are unleashed.
This is what we were expecting though, Gino. The amount of fuses that we're currently seeing from the America region is just insane with the pressure.
Yeah, even the Motherload's going down indoors just to block off rotation. Spectre Esports goes down. Nine Lives still alive, but I think it's only a solo for them, so probably not the three-peat here.
No way. Grieving Vayne putting out the alter Q, forcing him to just disengage with his shield bat. Now going on the other side, he cannot hide. He cannot run out of their line of sight. Yanya picks up that final player from Nine Lives. It's not going to be the three-peat here for them.
Oh my god, so we saw all of that chaos going on the high ground there. NRG have picked up 13 kills. And they've also picked up one of the best spots in the entire game here. So this could be a game to hang their hat on, a game to propel them to the top of the leaderboards if they continue on this sort of trajectory.
Not surprised here with their current positioning. The only squad that they have to consider is CTE, who are also on the high ground on the other side of that fence line. While looking at them and looking at the four different squads rather, that are going to collapse on each other inside of this building that we currently see Shopify in.
Oh, beautiful Void Passage there. Gets Shopify to the outside. Zainu won't survive it though. Neither will Koi. All right, I take it back. Maybe it wasn't such a great Void Passage.
Oh, no one's here for now. Hopefully no one takes the Ultra Q right in front of him. Gonna be able to pop that bat here. While Fusion are still alive, wrapping on the outskirts of the building. CTE are looking to their back. They're looking at NRG, who have the high ground. Trestax just holding on to dear life with the sliver of cover that the Rampart wall has. He lets it sing here with the Sheila Guild now. Follows up with the P20s. Yanya is lighting up the kill feed. Shopify Rebellion get taken out. And NRG are just waiting for more KP to be served up on a silver platter.
Oh my god, Guild repositioning. Not even using it because he's in any danger, just using it to maximize KP. That's how far ahead NRG are in this lobby. Everyone else is just getting decimated in the middle, and NRG look like they're firing at target dummies here at the end.
It's just another day at work here for NRG, racking up even more kills, ending up game number 3 with 19 KP in their pocket. Everybody in the lobby being below their feet just allowed them to take free range on the rest of these teams.
Wow. We've seen it happen, you know, once or twice so far in this day in Pro League, and just a team that takes such a good position that no one else even has a chance against them, right? And as a result, they milk it for all it's worth, getting 20 kills and ending up with a 32-point game.
Are you kidding me? The fact that we had in game number 2 a purple Slushee get 19, now we have NRG say, don't worry, we'll top it off by one more extra kill, 20 KP and a dub. What a huge game, 32 total points in this game alone for NRG.
You know, sometimes when a team has Godspot, when they've got high ground, right, other teams will start pressuring them because they know if there's a knock or something like that, there's a chance that they can move back, right? And as you can see, that pushes NRG to the top here with 41 points. But in this instance, Vicky, I think what happened was everyone knew that like there was just no option. There was no chance for anyone else really to take that space away from NRG. So they were all focused on getting second place, shooting at each other, using all their util on the teams in the building, and NRG just get it for free.
For free. I was just sitting back watching it all. I was like, how? Like, I'm with you, Vicky. How do we see 19 kills go to purple Slushee in just a match prior, and then now we've got 20 kills, a third of the lobby? Like, what is happening here tonight in the Americas region?
It's not just America's, Tiff. That's the thing. Like, we are seeing these high kill games across the whole ALGS, and it does seem to be a trend with how year 5 of ALGS is playing out.
Well, maybe it's all the legend bands, maybe it's the new maps, maybe it's a bit of everything. But I'm so glad that we're kind of walking into this halfway segment now that we've finished up with E-District and some banger games. Before we get into Broken Moon, we've got some things to review because Vicky and I were casting match number 2, and that end game moment, we need to play it back because you had questions, Vicky. We got to slow it down.
I honestly, from our point of view, it was a 1 bullet difference. Look at this. Literally a 1 bullet difference. I am in shock. What a way. Shout out to production having both sides, by the way. Like, Tiff, this was insane to look at.
It's so wild because right here, Cersei is about half flesh. Then you see it go down, but honestly, I think it's an actual pixel of difference that Cersei has in that moment that allows 9 Lives Esports to get the best and take the back-to-back wins. And with those bonus points in play, you never know what's going to happen. I know we saw Na'Vi last week get one. Will 9 Lives be able to secure that? But honestly, we still have so much to break down. So I'm excited to get our halftime guests teed up and in here because when you know these lobbies inside and out, it's always better to get their POV. So welcome in, Blinkster. How are you today?
What's up? I'm doing good. Thank you. How about you guys?
Hey, same. Honestly, I wanted to get your thoughts on what you've seen in the Americas thus far now that we're finished with the 3 E-District matches.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, there's like a lot of like IKIL games, like you mentioned, but I think that's like mainly just because of the new legend bans. Like all the like defensive characters like Newcastle and Kettle like get banned like early game, and that just like brings in like more chaos because like it's only gonna be like super aggro characters like Fuse, Crypto, Ballistic, and characters like that just being played overall every game. So that mainly adds way more fighting to every single game. So like teams are just gonna like run the edge and just get like super IKIL games every single game. So yeah, that's definitely the reason why.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking about the 19 kills from Purple Slushee, 20 from NRG, but I've got to hear your thoughts. Do you think we're going to see this same trend carry into the ALGS Open on LAN? And how excited are you to compete in New Orleans?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like I said, the same characters, the defensive ones gets banned like every game, every set. I mean, like game 1, game 2, game 3. So for sure, it's gonna be like some good team just running down the lobby every block. So that's for sure gonna happen. And I'm super excited to like play in New Orleans. It's gonna be like super nice. The new double elimination format is gonna be like super interesting to play, and then it's gonna be like cutthroat for like a lot of teams. I think we're gonna see like a lot of good teams get out early, but that's just gonna be more exciting for the viewers, I think. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be fun to play in, definitely.
Well, if it's fun for you to play, and it's definitely fun for us to watch, and I know Vicky and Genome are going to have a blast commentating over it, but, you know, that's not the only reason why we brought you here. You've probably seen in the prior match days, we've had this new segment with our hot takes and how spicy can they be, and honestly, I've been having a lot of fun with them, but before we hear yours, I'm going to kick it over to Genome because he's been dying to get this one out.
Look, I've ranted to people behind the scenes about this but my take is that every single map should be played in ALGS. Not at once, you know, like we're doing now. I think a rotation of 2 or 3 maps at a time is good so teams do get proper practice on it. But teams will say, you know, oh, there's all these problems. And yet every time we introduce a map, where have they gone? They're fine. Everyone works out how to play them. And, you know, all the issues. Oh, zip rails on Broken Moon are going to be crazy. Oh, actually, they're not a problem at all, as we've seen when we do play the map. So, personally, I want to see Kings Canyon back in. Olympus? Oh, it's too open? I don't know, guys. Work it out. Just because you have to play different strats on different maps doesn't mean that there's anything, you know, particularly wrong with the map. I think personally every single map needs to go into ALGS, and I think the audience would love it.
Ooh, I mean, look, the buzzer hit medium for you, but I gotta kick it over to Blinkster because obviously playing in these lobbies, Blinkster, do you want to play all of the maps? Do you agree with Genome here?
I don't know about that one. Definitely not all of them. So let's leave King Canyon out. It'll be good, yeah.
You like lock it up, put it in the vault. All right, let's hear what you've got. Maybe more spicier than that. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, it might be a bit spicier. Might be. So my hot take would definitely be that a lot of the pros are currently being carried by their experience rather than like their skill level. A lot of like the current pros are definitely under-skilled like compared to like the new upcoming talents in the scene. Like they're like the young players that are like coming out, like Jelly, my teammate, maybe like Panic. There's like a bunch of like new players that are like super better than like a lot of like the old pros that are like still in the scene that are just completely being carried by like their experience. Like they're still good players, like don't get me wrong, like they're like in the scene for a reason, but if it wasn't like from the experience, I don't think they would be there anymore. But that's just my take. It might not be true, but that's just my take.
I was curious if you were going to start naming names, but honestly, don't do that.
Name and shame.
Have to do that.
Name and shame.
I'm not saying any names. I'm not saying any names. No names are being said right now. Definitely no names.
Definitely pleading the fifth there with 5 seconds to go. I would say that's a bit spicier than what we got out of Genomes. I love it, Blinkster. And honestly, you at home, if you're watching this, wherever you're tuning in from, hit the social media. Let us know. Do you agree with Genome? Do you agree with Blinkster? Are pros being carried by their experience? The old guard versus the new guard kind of vibe. I honestly, I love it. But that's all we got for hot takes. I hope you guys love the segment. I'm enjoying this. It's much better when you're the host and you get to like kind of be the unbiased opinion throughout them. But hear me out. We've got some more goods coming. We've got another segment and I want to kind of dive in because we heard from you guys, but we want to hear from chat now, which is dangerous. I said this earlier. It's always dangerous when you give chat the open experience. And I can see it in your face, Blinkster. You're a little nervous, but this is from Panic. So I'll go ahead and let you open with this one.
The best mechanical MNK player. I would go 0 to be fair. Because I mean, he's got like all the proof to back him up. I mean, he's been like in the scene for a while, but like I mean, he's got the experience, he's got the skill level, he's just dominant overall. So I think for now, he's definitely the best one. Definitely. What other?
I was looking at the way you were going to word that because you were just talking about your hot take as being the pros getting carried by experience. You're like, Zero's got the experience, and then you hit the skill. So I was just making sure we're still good there. But we've got 2 more. So let's open it up with the next chatter coming from Inzani. Question for Blinkster. What does it mean to have your brother support you through your journey?
It's been a wild ride. I mean, we started like playing the game together. I think back in season 9 or season 10. That was like our first time for like both of us playing the game, and yeah, it was like it's really been like a enjoyable ride. We started playing comp together. We had like our ups and downs. Made our first like CC finals together, both of us, like the first time we competed. And then, you know, like the brother, it's like we didn't agree on everything, but it's been really fun. And like I know he's like retired now from playing after like last year of Pro League, but having him cheering me on, like watch partying my tournaments and everything is like super fun. Like I'm really happy and glad to have a brother like him, just like supporting me on the sidelines always. It's definitely good.
I love that. I really do. Honestly, family support means the most, but we do have one more. And this is, it's kind of like one of those random takes. It's just like less nerfs, more buffs. I'd rather a game be balanced because of an even amount of crazy strong options than those same options being noticeably limited from their prior state. Are we going more buffs, Blinkster? More buffs?
Definitely more buffs. Definitely more buffs. Just buff everything. I mean, like with the legend bans, we can allow more buffs now. Like if a character is too strong, just get a ban game 1. That's just how it should be. Same thing for the weapons. I mean, like P20s definitely need a nerf. Like that's for sure. Like please nerf that gun. But like for every other gun, just nerf above them so everything can be played. And yeah, we're definitely like on the right path. I think definitely more buffs.
More buffs. You heard it here. Well, Blinkster, thank you so much for taking time out of your Easter Sunday to come hang out with us on the ALGS broadcast. I wish you the best of luck down in New Orleans. I can't even say it. I'm getting cut up like Genome here, but you're going to crush it on LAN. Have so much fun, and we look forward to seeing you there.
I appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
Bye, guys. All right, Vicky's going to take a hot break here real quick, and then we're going to move on over to Broken Moon Genome, which was quite interesting over in the EMEA region. It's always fun, and if the action that we had witnessed over in E-District carries on through to Broken Moon, well, give us more of that because I am ready to get loud on the mic.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the aggressive heroes having, you know, your ballistics and cryptos and whatnot being a part of why these teams were picking up these massive kill games. And obviously, yeah, those characters are still in, right? Having a look at the legend bans we've had so far, or even just having a look at the winners we've had so far. 9lives taking out 2, obviously, and then NRG just eclipsing the lobby with that map 3. But you can see down the bottom, the Alta gets banned, as she tends to do in E District, where she is the strongest.
Ooh, you're not wrong. We had her picked 17 times in that last game, and the most popular legend composition was an Alter Crypto Fuse. So now that she's out of it for Broken Moon, I was curious, was this what we were witnessing? Alter went 4th out in match day 1 for the Americas, and actually did not get banned in match day number 2. As we start to look through our Broken Moon POI draft, Corinthians going over to Solar Pods. Hey, remember where we had all the zones in Broken Moon today? Over by Stasis, the large majority of them. So I'm looking for teams like Complexity, 9lives. Yet again, what is happening for 9lives in these rotations today?
Yeah, it could be a benefit to them. Even Shopify Rebellion, who are sitting in Stasis. Then again, you know, when I was, you know, watch partying APAC South earlier, we got a lot of sort of terraformer bionomic zones. So that could benefit teams like Leave No Witness.
That is actually really true, as we finally move into match number 4 for Broken Moon. A good look at the divide here for NRG after their massive game win in match number 3 for 32 points. Can they run it back? Will we see more northern zones on Broken Moon, or do we get the terraformer vibes? But to be in first place with 41 points and just a couple points shy is our second place team. I feel like if you really want to put your stamp on it, it has to be in this initial match.
No better way to start it off than with a couple of dubs. But yeah, the fact that they've got 2 wins and they're not first is a little ridiculous.
Slightly. I mean, come on, 9lives with 19 KP in match number, I believe that was 2. Then NRG here grabbing 20 with the win. That's just insane, whichever way you look at it. And if we're going to carry forward that trend, then let's go ahead and look at where we're headed towards. The north it is. Are we actually going to go all the way up to Breaker Wolf?
Ooh, I like this. I like this. Breaker Wolf is it brings out some really fun end games, right? And I'm kind of glad that Ash is still in at this point, because you know, depending on where it finishes up with Breaker Wolf, there's like that big gulf in the middle, and it's kind of the perfect distance if you're an Ash player to be able to port from one side to the other, because otherwise we'd just be sort of, you know, filling that pit with dead bodies.
That's true. Actually, this is the first week or first match day in Americas where we haven't had Ash be banned within the first 3 games. So still having all of the movement that she provides for people that enjoy playing here on Broken Moon, plus all the zip lines that you were mentioning during your hot take. It's FURIA looking to get on that initial rotate. Now they're coming in towards that western side of the second zone, which is fine. They've bypassed Alpha Base, which is where 9lives lands. They've got a ring console over there, so they'll get information. However, through the evac we go, trying to get all the way towards the northeast.
Very nice. And that's the one I was talking about in the previous series, right, where you get on the top of those buildings, pop the evac, and all of a sudden there are some rotations that open up you wouldn't otherwise be able to make. But it does allow FURIA to get into Breaker Wolf very, very early. Oh wow, even grabbing that Evo Harvester before the area gets so congested that, you know, you can't pick that up. Oh my RKN.
The cutaway. They didn't want us to see what just happened to RKN, but we're back, and FURIA still trying to close the distance here. This time drone vision, the CCTV vibes, and it's Keon here with the triple take. One more. Do we need it? Vayne going down from 9lives, and Shopify looking to set up shop here with MT transitioning onto that Watson.
Yeah, I thought that might be the 3rd member of Nice Guys going down there, but apparently not. Looks like 9lives have had a rough start to our game 4 here.
Not what you want if you were hunting for the bonus points. We saw Na'Vi get them because they won 3 initial matches and hit triple digits, but Nice Guys going on out. And when you think about where they start on Broken Moon, to fall this early on, knowing that it's coming to Breaker, where sometimes that's that curse of the zone coming to your drop spot. Oh,
yeah, that's tough.
Knocked.
Knocked. I don't think he was expecting to see McLovin there.
Oh no, the punishment is real. Finally expending out that ultimate just to get to the top if we can. And McLovin says, no, bro, like I'm still going to keep shooting you, trying to see if we could pick that one up. But we have regained back up with our crew there, and McLovin still by himself down on the ground. Can he get a reset? Get some of his teammates back in.
Might be able to do it. Will SES be able to get any sort of reset with 100 Thieves on their back? That's definitely not a team that you want to be fighting with the amount of confidence that they're going to have in themselves after that last game. No one is going to get the better of these guys in a straight up 3v3 right now.
Definitely not. I mean, they're feeling pretty aggressive. We've seen what they can do. Phony's got the Sentinel in the back pocket and breaking out the Wraith. I mean, they started at the underpass. So we're talking over by production yard, a heck of a rotation to get situated up near Breaker Wharf, maybe kind of dead center-ish of that zone 2 initially, where you still have teams that are on the southern side. Virtus.pro, Corinthians. It's not going to be isolated because people are still working their way north. So don't get too cozy here, and don't let this draw out.
Virtus.pro having to remember how to make a rotation, because of course last week rotations, you know, just weren't required. They just sat on their hands and enjoyed that the KP came straight to them. So a little bit of a different play style out of the North Americans this week. Oh, nice. They do grab that first knock onto Kings, and this could open up a couple of KP for Virtus.pro on the southern side of the map.
Well, Spectre Esports going to go ahead and hit a res on one of their teammates, trying to get back to full numbers. Monsoon going rogue with a charge rifle elsewhere, but after that initial knock, it looks like VP is going to drop some things and maybe try to rotate ahead of Corinthians. No reset available for 9 Lives Esports. They will fall in 19th place. Something about January, just playing spoiler to people, just going rogue and finding solos, winning 1v1s after being chased down. I see you, January.
Yeah, look, talking about chase down, 100 Thieves have popped the Tempest right now, and that's one of those abilities that makes it extremely hard to get away, as Phony doubles up on the Sentinel. And they get the finish as well. Phony first to reach purple here on 100 Thieves.
Kind of disgusting. There's something so satisfying when you witness like back-to-back shots connecting with the Sentinel and how quick it can be, especially with that slight speed boost from the ballistic ultimate. But an update on where that circle is pulling towards complexity on that backside. Spectre in Unleash kind of holding down that line of ring 3. But you can kind of see the update of where Virtus.pro is rotated around Corinthians and now MPIRE as well.
Yeah, kind of split at the moment. Hopefully they pull back up in time before MPIRE can take advantage of that. But with the Ring 2 countdown on the way, they should have time to take this fight and then maybe head up towards Eternal Gardens, where LG are sitting at the moment.
Oh, well, keep on moving. I see Leave No Witness hitting an evac out of the divide. Here is that MPIRE moving towards...
Wait, are they ratting them?
Oh, they're ratting. Knowledge comes out with an EMP, and Riley down at the hands of Zach Mazer, locking it on the Bangalore. Here comes the ultimate. LOTR just ahead of them. We've seen the distance of what P2020s can do, and sure, you can try to retrace yourselves back away from VP, but Zach, look, he's trying to have momentum right now, not moments.
Yeah, was that the Empire bang ult, or was that Zach Mazer's? Well, actually, yeah, considering, yeah, you can see it on the screen, that was probably Zach's, unless both of them used their bang ults there, I guess. But it kind of forced VP to disengage a little bit. So they do get the 1 KP, but, you know, you'd always hope you could get more than that. There we go. Does get turned around on by Lota. Nice.
Slayer's
Okay.
got the back.
So-
Slayer cleans it up.
It's
We
all
get
good.
Zach back up on their feet. We get rid of Empire. We get the KP we wanted. But I was going to say, if we don't get that, we did use a lot of resources and time because that was Zach's Bangalore ultimate. So we'll check in with some other teams. They've still got a bit to go when it comes to getting up towards the northeastern side of things. You can see here January on your side. Envy, top 3 finish in match day #1, currently situated in 10th place. They still have this game and 2 more to go if they want to make a play to get back into the top 3.
Yeah, with such a great placement in day 1, they were definitely one of the teams who was looking to be on top of Pro League and get one of those top seeds for New Orleans that we talked about. But they'll have to change their fortunes here on Broken Moon if that is to be the case, because the 10th place might not necessarily put them on top of the pack.
Ooh, okay. A lot of breakdowns here as we kind of keep on moving on the south side of things. Naughty Shubi just there. Leave No Witness moves right on in underneath, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're just looking to get access to this evac so they can keep on rotating ahead. But it's not going to be easy. Panic here, trying to make a play here on Shubi with a dash down to the behind, and now can we get the bat off in time? Rena has the R9. You've got Sauce and Naughty down. Just a couple fools. Honestly, if I'm LG, like, I just want to see if I can get out, survive.
Well, Spectre Esports also trying to survive, and they'll use one of their ultimates. The Ashport comes out there to get them to safety. And actually further into the next zone, so that's not too bad. Envy actually get finished off by Pluto there. So yet another game that'll see them probably slip down past their position in the middle of the pack at the moment.
They're just... I'm gonna have the VOD review them later because I feel like they're making some really interesting calls and some solid playthroughs on those calls. So good move for them to take out Envy and kind of isolate themselves on that eastern side. A good update on where we're moving. Corinthians are going to have to kind of go through that choke, but you also have CTE there, but that's where Purple Slushee is on the next side of things. Virtus.pro down there on the south alongside Leave No Witness, who get access to the Mythic Bin in Eternal Gardens. And in Complexity, honestly, I think they've been there since the dawn of match #4. We're camping, we're making s'mores together, we're living.
Yeah, the thing that really jumps out to me about this map here, Tiff, is that most teams are very well aware of where the zone's heading, but not many of them are going there. And that's because the buildings in Breaker Wharf are so open. This isn't Skyhook, right? You can't just cram 18 teams in here and all have some level of safety. They're more open. They're more sort of warehousey buildings. And you actually see teams, you know, Shopify Rebellion will be firing shots across at, say, FURIA and Team Orchid, and there's just lots of options to trade damage there. So you can't actually fit all that many teams into those buildings despite their size.
Well, Virtus.pro here, down on the south side of things. You can see Lou actually getting closer. I believe this is the rat from LG. Shubi on the other side, likely trying to hit a replicator, not going to get there. Down and out, and Lou is officially your new kill leader at 3 KP alone just for themselves. Damn. So a regain coming through for Virtus.pro as we move on to Broken Moon.
Yeah, look, I might have been, you know, only half memeing before when we were talking about how gifted they got with the zones last time, but honestly the other half, you know, I might be able to attribute to Luke, because that guy is in phenomenal form at the moment, and every time you see him in a fight, he is putting in work.
Gotta put in the work. Gotta put in the dedication, the time, and honestly, they've been a very fun team to keep tabs on here in Americas. And Corinthians on your screen down below the building. Curious to see if we're going to make this push onto Purple Slushee and how you're going to open it up. You have the mother load, you have knuckle clusters, you've already invested your last one straight into the building, but you hype up VP and look what happens on the rotate, getting held out through the fire, through the flames, down and out in 15th place.
GG, rotating too hard. 100 Thieves, meanwhile, been picking up some kills on some other gatekeeping positions, playing from this little house right here. We kind of missed it while we were watching VP go through the fire and the flames there, but they do actually pick up, what are they up to? 7 kills in this game to back up the 20 that they had last time, and we're not even halfway through eliminating the lobby right now. So 100 Thieves, it'll be tough for them to make this next rotation. Actually, that's the critical part of the game for them. But you can see Purple Slushee are going to be fighting the similar sort of positions. The difference is that they've got this Wraith portal going in a little earlier.
Well, I mean, you're definitely getting eyed out. But at least you make it back. We set up shop. And we really try to just defend the other side of the portal and stake the claim. But there's that slowness of bringing out the Sheila on the other side. Wraith 101, someone's always watching the other side of your portal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these players know, right? Like, there's a certain orientation that you will come out of the portal, so you can just position yourself behind it. And especially if this is, you know, controller, NA, lots of controller players, it's kind of slow to do the 180 and actually turn around to the player who's just about to one-clip you.
I mean, Phony, an absolute menace here on the Sentinel. 6 kills alone. Trying to keep an eye on Purple Slushee. The brilliant time on going into the void to avoid the Arc Star. But Verhul still keeping tabs.
Oh, no.
Jen Burton taken down by Pluto, who's just been the thorn in everyone's side here today, but unfortunately not going to get past 100 Thieves, who is still a duo.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how they were essentially fighting over that that rotation avenue, and they do it, but they lose someone along the way, and as a result, the duo is not able to get past Corinthians, who are set up behind these rampart walls and able to eliminate 100 Thieves on the walk-in. Meanwhile, Complexity, you know, if there was ever a game for Monsoon to be plinking away with that charge rifle, this was the one. He does get a kill with it, but it looks like ACP have seemed to take that building away from them, and now Complexity down to a solo.
That is so not good for them. Shopify Rebellion will have to cross here. With 9 squads remaining, you don't want to be the first team out of this, but thankfully, Ash still in play for Broken Moon is going to assist a lot of our teams. So keep an eye on ACP, because I can only imagine the moment this circle starts encroaching down into that size is everyone's going to be hitting their rotations at the exact same time. ACP is kind of already trying to put those feelers, which they ripped that positioning away from Complexity. At this point, you're just trying to get as many placement points as possible because you're inside the top 10 overall.
Yeah. So 5 teams inside this building. NRG first to move. Now that we've sort of flipped the coin on whether the zone was going to go towards the left or the right of Breaker Wharf, Shopify Rebellion need to follow suit at some point. They've only got 1 Ash TP. Koifel hasn't managed to get purples yet, and that means you don't have the option of repositioning. You just get 1 chance.
The timing on that Jenny coming down, the 2 nades that it's protecting you from, even the ultimates from Bangalore that are being thrown around, getting that early space. Sure, it's not akin to having that Newcastle that was banned early on, but it's the best we've got. And Fusion here gonna try their hand at a rotation. Dan down and out will have to crawl through. Complexity is gonna be found out, gives Kimchi ratting, and Shopify Rebellion grabs that kill for ACP, who's still staked out on the roof. Just brawling is Corinthians.
Corinthians trying to move it in, hoping that this EMP will remove some of this utility ahead of them. But you can see they're struggling. Bin and Kings, representatives of the South American region in this now combined America's Pro League region. Corinthians do fall.
Oh my, and the Jenny's down, so keep an eye out, because you have Zainu who pops the ultimate to go straight inside into the open arms of NRG. It's Timmy that's going to be credited with those kills. Shopify Rebellion down, as if NRG didn't need more kills after that 20-kill game 3. They're just getting fed, but it's not over. Spectre Esports into the top 5 we go, having a moment of reprieve to get their shields back on up while Fusion falls.
position formerly held by Shopify Rebellion. I think it was probably the EMP that came in and destroyed most of the, you know, the pylons and everything else that they had set up that sort of spelled the end for them in this game. Spectre Esports, they were playing a choke down to the south. They were the only ones in that position, and that has actually given them a reasonable amount of the zone. But as you can see, with teams up top, they're gonna get focused out. They're probably just gonna have to hug the wall on the low ground once this circle starts moving in.
Just trying to keep apprised of all the angles. At least the knuckle cluster straight towards Yanya, but there's not much you can do about it. And for the time being, what is our next playthrough? Are we looking for the fence line? Because you're gonna have to contend with NRG as they move out of that building and likely straight towards Spectre Esports.
Got a solo from FURIA all the way in no man's land. Hopefully no one spots them out. Actually, what's the FURIA player? No, it's an Ash. I was wondering if it was maybe an Invis Crypto.
Oh.
That'd be form for FURIA, but no.
Here we go. ACP gets ahead of NRG, leaving the building. Here comes the nade spam, seeing if we can connect. Awope loses the shields. I hear everything cracking, burning all around with the thermites, but so far no knocks. It's actually knocked on the opposing side. Gonna crawl and try to play for those placement points while everyone breaks out. ACP contending here with NRG, and Spectre also equally providing that pressure.
4 teams left now. ACP have tried to weather the storm, but I don't know how much more of this bad weather they can take.
How are we even okay here? Spectre Esports does what they do. They take down NRG. FURIA has fallen, and now with Spectre all 3 alive, can just clean it up. Take down ACP, take down NRG, and you get the first win here in game number 4 on Broken Moon.
Solid dub there from Spectre Esports. I was sort of watching them creep up from the you know, the south side of the map and wondering if they really had what it took to take that one out. And luckily, not too many teams are worried about that south side of the zone when they're milling in and around the building. There was just a bit too much going on there, and yeah, Spectre, they convert.
It just shows, it like goes to show you how good that spot was that Shopify Rebellion had positioned themselves in as we pull up the match results. Like, Shopify takes that initial space, goes out in 6th place with 8 kills. Spectre moves in just after them. 9 KP, 12 placement points because of the dub in a 21-point game. Now, despite FURIA being a solo in the end game, they had 1 KP, but the 7 placement points alone, pretty solid. That's what we like to salvage out of a game like that.
100 Thieves get 9 kills. Oh, actually, I think I might have mixed them and NRG up before, getting Timmy's old and new orgs mixed up. But anyway, we've got Spectre here as we look at our top 3, taking it out with a solid 21 points, 9 kills on top of their placements.
I mean, look at these stats. It's brilliant. I kind of across the way, we've got the 1800 damage, the 1500 damage. Those are kind of the main outliers for me for specific players on ACP and Spectre Esports. Relatable. Let's go ahead and pull towards the series results and kind of set the stakes before we move into the final 2 matches of the day. Incredibly close. NRG, after that 32-point game, still situated at the top, 49 points, but just 8 behind them, Shopify Rebellion. It really makes you think, had they been able to move into the position they were up towards Breaker Wharf in the right timing of the end game, we could have seen them potentially being at the top of the leaderboard, but instead, 2 more games, Gina, more Broken Moon action to go. And quite frankly, it's still anyone's game here on match day number 3 in America. So let's cut to a quick break. And when we come back, the final 2 matches before ALGS Open in NOLA.
Chant my name, I shall descend upon this world and bestow upon it my body. What offerings do you bring, thy beautiful vestige? I demand they be sharp and explosionized. You are making quite the scene for me not to be in it. What the hell? This fighting pleases me. More! More! And now one last gift for my believers. The ultimate decoy. Cheeky.
Spectre Esports gets that dub for our match for our first map 2 on Broken Moon, Genome, and it's great to see more teams now showing up because Spectre Esports, I believe, also lands Quarantine Zone, so they were able to make that quick rotate from the middle part of the map over to that northeast side.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because Quarantine is hard to loot quickly, right? There's an incredible amount of loot in there. You could probably have 3 bloody teams to get in there and pick up all that loot. But if you can be disciplined and just pick it up, then there is a chance for you to rotate wherever you want because it obviously is such a central POI.
Yeah, why don't we actually look at the final zone and how that all played out? We saw a lot of these teams split up on each edge of the zone, but especially the squads that were able to coexist in these zones here for the very end.
There was a lot of back and forth between the teams up top who were dictating a lot of where the other teams could play, and then it seems like Shopify Rebellion just desperately trying to live after having their home destroyed by vagrant crypto drones. And then it was Spectre Esports who just managed to hop in there at the right time where the other teams couldn't really look at them too much. I mean, gosh, look at the amount of fuse ults being thrown down. Who was this? Yeah, ACP on the stairs had basically no chance, taking very little damage from guns, actually. It was all just from fuse ults, knuckle clusters, grenades that did the majority, the bulk of the work, eliminating them.
Honestly, seeing this Southern Breaker Wharf end zone was crazy too. A nice little refresher here for Broken Moon before Spectre was able to take it. While we take a look at the map schedule, we got 2 more games to go for the Americas Groups B versus C. And again, we are moving on to game number 5 where we don't see Ash anymore because Ash was the tiebreaker here for match 4. I believe it was tied between Ash and Crypto.
Yeah, 14 picks for each of those. So that does say that it's fairly likely we'll see Crypto go next. And interestingly enough, Vicky, we're going to have this, if that happens, Crypto gets banned after game 5. We'll have exactly the same situation as in EMEA, where we had the top legend from each class going first.
That's actually so true. We get to see a nice diverse spread out here. While we make our way over to Broken Moon once again, thank you everybody for tuning in from home. It's been a great time to witness the legend bands, to see a different map pool in the ALGS than we've ever seen before. It's definitely a great refresher for me too here, Genome, after seeing the action go down in the other region and seeing how it could play out within the Americas currently. Spectre taking our last game, but NRG stays on top with 49 points, followed by Shopify Rebellion getting in second place with 41 points. So Koiful has been able to keep them up on top here with 12 total KP. But really, Pluto Reality has just been popping off throughout the course of this lobby.
Yeah, Pluto's been huge. Not someone I really had on my radar up until recently, but he's certainly making a case for him being, like Blinks has said, one of those people that is coming in, like the new wave of Apex pros.
make way for some more talented players as we tune into Spectre Esports, your winner for game number 4 now. Seeing the Ballistic, the Wraith, and the Rampart still being able to have that rotational opportunity that the Wraith provides. You're going to be able to scan these rain consoles with the Rampart and bunker down with these Rampart barriers. Get that double whammy for that Evo. No.
Scans are just a second too early. Yeah, once upon a time, you could actually get double Evo from doing that. And teams would deliberately try and drop immediately. This is in ranked, obviously, off the drop ship. Hit the beacon and then get the second scan for another 200 Evo. But no, that's been patched. And now all you have to do is scan it once. You get the info. It's going to Alpha Base, most likely. So, yeah, cool that we get a little bit of a different end zone here in Game 5.
All right, still going over to the north side, but an alpha-based zone. I feel like we've seen one of those already, and with 9 Lives hanging out here, remember, Genome, they've already won 2 games. If they win 1 more, they get those extra points, so at least that 1 extra point. So it's very doable here with 9 Lives being able to have that circle info.
Except they're running Fuse, Vicky, so luckily there's an Evo Harvester close by, but they do have to get that blue armor up and pick the ring console perk before it's time, and FURIA have already rotated in, so 9 Lives might just have to look at the fact that people are coming into their POI and use that as the indicator that they have to stay put.
They are rocking that Crypto, Horizon, and Fuse, though, here. So at least going to be able to get that information if they can with the Crypto before FURIA are going to be able to try to take up that POI over to the north side. But I really like hanging out in those buildings that are by the zip line over to the south side of Alpha Base here. So you have the opportunity to call it an evac if you have to rotate if it ends up doing that 50-50 pull, which I don't think we've seen those pulls. I've seen them way back in early Broken Moon before the changes where we've seen some end zones fall there. And it's been a hard 50-50. So hanging out there by the south side also keeps your back empty with the giant rock wall behind you. So you're not going to find yourself pinched unless 2 teams try to take 2 opposite zip lines to your left and right. Gonna have to tune into 9 Lives later while VP try to get a little aggressive here with these G7 shots, trying to rack up some more damage. You saw that Zach Major was able to get that knock onto Jay initially. Is he trying to scatter too? Because in the distance, maybe an opportunity here for VP to capitalize.
Yeah, they've got CTE sort of sandwiched in the middle between Corinthians, who we were watching, and VP. The remaining member of CTE, the Wraith, is on the way out now. Ooh, as we see the... I thought it was gold weapon there for a second. I was like, where did that 410 come from? But of course, it's just the ballistic ult. Interesting. Obviously, most people will be picking up the Rampage as the sling weapon, but I feel like the charge rifle is also a good option, right? Because you don't have to worry about carrying sniper ammo. You literally just pop the ult, and then you've got instant, cross map headshots.
I could hear that gold charge rifle in my nightmares, honestly. Just constantly beaming in my ears out here from 300 meters out. Like, what are you even gonna do? Try to push onto that. But ACP here on the high ground. Talking about some distance themselves. Dynasty being on the Fuse, 30-30 in hand. He's got the mother load ready to go. But it was about the fight for that ring console, or rather that survey beacon. They were able to see where the enemies are, especially Envy, who are right in front of them. They saw the scan, and they're actually just going to get ahead of the curve and try to rotate out here.
Yeah, look, I can't say that the 30-30 really needed those buffs that it got in the mid-season patch. It is now an absolute terror. The fact that you can just quickly double tap someone and, you're on blue armor, you're basically dead, is a little bit terrifying. But, that's the direction they were going this season, lowering the time to kill, making everything feel very dangerous. And I guess that feeling is something that I have enjoyed.
credit to, honestly. It also allows you to really prioritize your positioning, right? You don't want to sleep on whoever you're against in that moment, feeling like you could just ape everything and hold forward. You have to keep in mind your positioning of where other squads are within the area, because like you said, if you get pinged twice by that 30-30, your eyes are crying from how much it hurts, so you got to try to reposition and reset. Meanwhile, VP are already going to take this evac tower. You can see the pings up ahead. Lou just trying to see if you can find somebody in the distance, and with those pings, they definitely do, and they look like they're out for blood right now. Oh no, not CTE, not CTE. They thought they saw the light of day now. Well, VP now come right back to stop them from trying to reset outside of zone. Not only that though, Genome, fighting here, no one's gonna try to gatekeep them because everyone's already getting ahead over to the north side of Broken Moon.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge negative rotate here from Virtus.pro just to try and grab a couple of these kills. And Chase Mob, the second time, is going to go down. These guys have to worry about their health a little bit. Can't engage until you pop the med kit. So now Slayer goes in. Finish onto Chase Mob, knock onto Mav, and now, once again, CTE are down to a single member. I think they might have got away on the zip rail, though. And so that means they'll look for a second respawn and reset while Virtus.pro have to try and make their way back into the ring. And as you can see, there's a bit of a hike ahead of them. Want to be getting into quarantine zone, and the fact that they left it this late means, who knows, they have to go through someone like MPIRE just to get into the next ring.
Yeah, well, was it worth it here? You wanted to get that KP, though, but they understand the stakes. We're already here in game number 5. This is where a lot of teams have seen where they are in the standings of the lobby, and CTE, and as you mentioned, being able to have that solo get out. They had the replicator over by Solar Pods. They haven't replicated those banners already. And VP are already on their way over to that north side of zone. And if they decide to rotate through the east side, they won't necessarily run into Empire, but they still have to worry about Corinthians and Leave No Witness that are going to patiently be waiting on the edge, because we also see that there were 2 survey beacons on the south side of Stasis Array. So we can expect other squads to try to go there in that direction. While we take a look at Envy, let's jump into a listen in with Envy.
You can fuse ult.
I got a bad.
One's dead, guys.
I just got stuck. I'm walking up. I got a heal. I have no bats. I have no bats. One's on left.
Correct. He's 1 HP, the guy running. Just walk hard left and fight this, guys.
Yeah. He's far left.
Come on.
I'm just weakening him. Walking up.
Let's go.
I'm too close.
I don't know where he's at. Nice. Last guy's porting or queued away.
This guy.
Alright, listen, go to builds.
I'm going big right. Oh, fuck.
They're fighting at this build.
Fighting. We need to kill that. Yeah.
Yes.
They poured it back,
I don't have EMP, okay?
They poured it back over here, I think. They poured it back.
They fucked off?
Yeah.
Alright. Can we look for this solo?
It's a raid, right?
I'm gonna drone for him.
What do you think about where are we walking into that?
We're just walking in on this like top spot probably. Hold out our close side wrap.
I'm gonna go back.
Lovely comms here from Envy, recognizing that there could be another squad coming in, immediately going back to the buildings, but high octane action here as well for 100 Thieves. Jen Burden lets the P20 sing, but cannot clutch it out. 100 Thieves get taken out, and Nice Guys may be beating him back in the lobby. Oh, he gets away from the side. Cody.
Oh my God.
Ooh, dodge and dip and sing and dance around the charge rifle. Avoid the fused knuckle cluster. No, he cannot. Nice Guys are the next to go with 100 Thieves. Oh man, and that's the scary part about getting gate kept in a situation like that.
And it's always just so galling for the team who gets sent there, right? So for 100 Thieves, they look at that situation and they say, why would you push us there? You've died immediately as well. There was no way you were going to get away with this. Why would you not play for the end game instead of playing for 3 early game kills? So unfortunate for 100 Thieves, but at the same time, well, I don't know, what are you gonna do? Win the fight, I guess?
Especially when they were both next to each other in the overall standings before they went, right? 100 Thieves being in 8th and Nice Guys being in 9th in this lobby. Leave No Witness though, after losing out on the Ballistic. Tough start here for the entry fight of Leave No Witness. Reyna cannot pull off that bat. You're either gonna have to get away, reposition, and VP are chasing you down. We saw that they were out for blood outside of zone, now making their way all the way over to this north side.
yeah, VP are bloodthirsty today. It's like they said, hey, we showed you we can play zone last week. Let's try and get some edge practice in this week. And yeah, certainly trying to get right on top of as many teams as they possibly can here. There we go with a nice clean out. They can start looking to make a short zone wrap around to the north and probably pull up against teams like NRG.
And I do have to make a note. I believe in last week's Pro League, VP had played very similarly when they were on Broken Moon, except Broken Moon was for the first 3 games. So when they won game 2 and 3, they were feeling very confident. Broken Moon could just be that map for VP to find that momentum and confidence that they need here for the end part of the series. We already saw that they were doing very well too, right? Because they were sitting in 10th place in the overall standings for Groups B versus C thus far. But we take a look at Envy. Dropped being in that crypto drone, getting that information too. We heard it earlier on that they didn't have EMP. They definitely did have it now. See the fused mother load here too. While Zap goes right through it. It's their friendly mother load, and they're gonna be able to tug the direction.
Throwing grenades like bowling balls out here, just knocking them down like so many pins. That is some nice KP coming the way of Envy.
Beautiful looks. Zap with a G7 though, gonna be able to skirt away. So being able to try to find that player from behind the rock. You need to be careful though, right behind them was ACP. And on the other side, LG are waiting for them on the southern rotate. Getting that knock though is gonna be huge here for Envy.
Looking to try and place that evac tower. They're going to do it soon. 7 seconds until zone starts closing. And it's still a little while to the zone. They probably don't need to worry about ACP, who's over in the zone there. They set 3 evac towers up, not leaving anything to chance. Don't want, you know, any shielders knocking them off their path. And Envy will start their rotation in here past teams like Empire.
ACP eventually get eliminated too on the middle of this rotate while everybody flies into that next zone. And look at this, with Envy being inside here, or rather underneath the building. This is the risk that you take, flying blind, trying to hopefully find a spot, but you already know it was being taken up by the squads that have quickly rotated, following up with Zap to get that finishing blow. Can he get the shield swap here? Yes, he can. He finishes off that player instead. He doesn't get the shield swap, actually. He just moves forward, tries to help prevent any sort of disruption on the res. Here comes FURIA though, as well from inside. Spectre Esports get eliminated. Envy with looking at Team Orchid, who wanted to take a different angle at pressuring them from underneath the building.
Yeah, Empire kind of just walking it in. I don't know if maybe they use the zip rail as well there, but they are very much on the edge of the zone. As you can see, the big orange wall behind them. I mean, hey, look, with the bin reset here ahead of them, maybe when they get a chance, they can take advantage of some of that loot, but they can't really do that while they've got Fusion throwing scout bullets left and right at them.
Ace Fusion in this case do have blue evos, whereas Empire have that 1 red evo, 2 purple, so they have that evo shield advantage, but they don't want to give up the space just yet. They will have to move in the next 40 seconds, but they are also aware that 9 lives are to their right, and this zone's completely pulling to the north. Let's not forget that this is 9 lives POI, and they had predicted that this zone was going to pull more so to the south side. That's why they were hanging out by those zipline buildings.
All right, Timmy, he's done it. He's called the zone perfectly here and made the correct rotation all the way to the north. Complexity was sitting in those buildings for quite a while, so very similar to last game. They've just got to hope that they can repel any teams who try and take it away from them. Let's see if NRG can stack on more KP as they currently sit in first place in the lobby.
They're looking at everybody else in the lobby that's going to forcibly have to come to them. It is open hunting season here for NRG. Carter sending out the bang ult, trying to dip and dive behind the truck to pop this shield bat, having the Havoc in hand. And the Ring's going to be able to do the same thing, but they're looking to their right with the zone closing in now. It's everybody with guns blazing, desperately trying to find their space over to this northwest side.
Just trying to pop a bat before they have to climb the wall and expose themselves to the trials and tribulations of the inside of Alpha Base.
Carter was able to get that knock, by the way, with the Bangalore onto Shopify Rebellion. So briefing them slightly and allowing Complexity to move right in, putting in some pressure onto Shopify now has allowed Empire to make their way on the other side of that zip, looking at Fusion that are still inside of that zone.
I mean, Sir Say, what can he do? One teammate going down, desperately looking for a reset here. After such a great start to the day, it's been tough for 9 Lives in the last couple of games. Noct and Carter relying exclusively on their teammates' knockdown shields right now.
No way that FURIA is just trying to take this fight versus Empire. Ring around the rosy around any lip of cover you could build for yourself. Noct does not like the situation he's in. He does not like his positioning. He can hear the bait of the res. He's not going to fall for it, though. He'd rather just commit to popping this medkit. Now look around, seeing that they are actually trying to res. Oh, he gets a grab first though with the hipfire shots on the G7. The patient play Genome from Noct to get the clutch.
Love that from Noct. And that's kept FURIA alive. Luckily, none of them getting full killed, so makes resetting a lot easier as other teams are, you know, having to worry about respawning and whatnot. Fusion, only one left alive. LG, also a single rat. Shopify Rebellion actually quietly have been moving up the leaderboards. They've just done, you know, they haven't really indexed that hard on placement points this series, Vicky. It really has been mostly the kill points for SR, and they're in second place right now. But you've got to remember, NRG have the better position.
Yeah, they do. We highlighted Koifel with 12 KP, Zainu with 10 now as Complexity make their next move. With Funk putting down that Wraith Porter, trying to see if he can kidnap somebody at the same time. Like, here comes the rest of Complexity. Monsoon to give them the backup they need, but then get sniped in the distance. January from Fusion, the solo that is left from Fusion is the nail in the coffin for Complexity.
Now, they did manage to knock 2 of the SR members in that time, so them being able to get a reset is dependent on how many of these nades hit their mark, as you see BP desperately trying to eliminate one of the teams ahead of them. That said, there's only 5 teams left in the lobby, or is it 6 with Fusion?
See here with Fusion still alive as a solo. Shopify FURIA, VP, and RG. They finally claimed the solo. That was January. He stays alive for as long as possible. Got to give him credit out here with 4 squads now left and Energy still in the best position in this lobby.
7 points currently separating NRG and SR. NRG, if they win this game, they'll widen that gap, but maybe Shopify can close it. It just depends if they can get the kills onto FURIA and VP and then turn around in time, because NRG at the moment, they're waiting. They don't want to get anything less than first place.
So they're not trying to extend out here, and they have the crypto, so they can just greet them with an EMP here if they need the opportunity. Huge nades coming in from Slayer, finding the finishing blow onto Keon and getting the next knock here too. FURIA in a lot of trouble. MT does not get the clutch Kraber shot here.
Doesn't manage to find it, but he has found a top 3 here. Manages to kill the drone. That's really important. Remember, that's how they died last game. The EMP removing all of their walls, removing their pylon. They have to send FURIA, and you can see NRG. They've done it so well, though. Look at that. None of them go down. They haven't lost any health. They can get the shield swaps and just go for the clean 3v3 against NRG now.
Oh, and Shopify didn't wrap up around, and Guild were not expecting it in that moment there. NRG in trouble after you saw Zainu just pepper into them. Koifel now playing up the low ground. He climbs up onto Timmy, and Shopify from the low ground take over NRG and take over game number 5 as your winners.
Oh my lordy. I mean, it's very rare when you get to a final circle with 3 teams that the team who the team who wins the second and third fight has enough health left to take on the top team in a manner that makes it even remotely likely that they can win that fight. But those guys are just so damn good. Koifel and Zainu, one of the best roller duos in the game, probably top 2.
I cannot wait to look at the relook at that final zone play from Shopify Rebellion. We're highlighting what a kill-heavy squad Shopify is. Now they get the dub with 8 KP, 20 points. This sets them up on top, after we saw how close they were to NRG, or maybe at least right next to them, maybe a point difference actually after this, with NRG still securing 2nd place and 4 KP. FURIA also having a fantastic game, getting 3rd place and 7 KP. And VP, we saw how kill-heavy they were, playing extremely aggressive and getting the 9 KP.
Very aggressive. Yeah, I think they made the most of their game, considering they were so far away from where the circle was ending. And yeah, Zach Mazer himself coming out with 6 KP. So grats on that one. Whereas we see Zainu picking up both the aggressive and defensive top performances there. And then it's Yanya from NRG as the Warlord, obviously sitting up the top and getting a lot of poke damage in, does lend itself to that. And as you said, Vicky, it's a 2-horse race. NRG maintain their lead by 1 point.
Wow, we still have one whole game on Broken Moon. The highlight for these two teams, though, and the biggest difference that we were highlighting to you before that Game 5 conclusion was that Shopify had not gotten a dub yet. They've been getting these kills, and now with that dub, they could ride that momentum. But NRG still with fantastic calls. Timmy finding themselves in a great position in that final zone with the rest of his team.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's plenty of other teams in the middle of the pack that can change their fortunes and move quite significantly up the leaderboard with just a few points if they can clutch up in this last game.
With a 1-point difference now, we have one more game to go here in the Americas region, and you don't want to miss it. It's coming to you on the other side of this break.
車線を広げましたアークスネアにグレネード、最後はボセックワンヒットきっかけを作りました。一気にノイジーが降りてきた。リジェクト耐えられるか。キャッスボールの後ろを昌平敬吾なんとか起こしきれたんですが返している。ただライカ HP 状況一人持っていった。ユリースも落として最後の一人ノイジー。ユリースリアライズに対して仕掛けていきます。リアライズがここで全滅です。残りは3部隊。なんか見えてる。ワンマガジン持っていった。なんか見えた。さあこれで2部隊フナティックとの一騎打ち。先にワンダを取っているのはリジェクト。1試合目の悔しさをぶつけました。次は3部隊です。フナティックリジェクトは確認できています。あポータル消えた。迷うか。あっと迷った。かなり苦しい体力までただ削られた。キャラクターコントロール粘るんですが、さあどうか。ノイジー帰ってきている。ただここでフナティック落とされた。最後ノイジーまた一方的に打ち下ろすことができます。ゼロバリケード分断できていますが、上から打ち下ろすのみの GHS。 下の TIE リアライズは取ったがシズが耐えてる。これ2位いけるぞ。下のファイト無視して上に帰ってきた。なんとリアライズ2位まで伸ばしました。しかし GHS がもうアンチに来る。そっち行く。なんなら LFT の方向にそっち飛び込んだ。しかしここでジョナが落とされます。またげは入れるか。これでストライダーズが動きやすくなりました。展開しています。これ LFT アーミーが全滅です。ただストライダーズも1人倒されている。残ってるのはマッティとチャナムですが、そのまま取り切った。高い取ってワンチャンこの入るか。お互いにウィーク1は苦しい悔しい結果になりました。19位と20位。いやその位置めちゃくちゃいい。アイビス上を取る判断です。キャッスルウォール挟み込んだ。前線は張るのはアイビス。ただシズとインキャが倒されている。どうだ 1v1 体力状況は有利。しかし返しましたミーティア。
Shopify Rebellion take game number 5, and what a series it's shaped up to be, Gino. We got one more game to go, and I have loved these legend bans. I have loved what it's forced these teams to do. While we take a look at some of our replays, Noct chasing down after the race, preemptively shooting, by the way, the portal, then doesn't see that they went back around before finishing off that last member. Panic going out, and then this was one of my favorite 1v1s to watch here in the corner. A lot of that chaos. Well, by the way, Madness is still alive, but in his crypto drone, giving information to Noct here, Gino.
Yeah, look at this. Kind of insane how long this 1v1 took. But yeah, Noct does come out ahead with some sick G7 shots. But then from then on, it was really a lot about NRG and about Shopify Rebellion. And those two are pretty much the only ones that can take out this series. And I think both of them are really hankering for it, Vicky, because they didn't do so well last week. I mean, Shopify Rebellion picked up a 9th and NRG picked up a 12th.
Oh,
but
wow.
That does really go to show that it's kind of even across the board in this region right now. But to pick up a first and a second here for those two would put them... what's that? 25 plus say 11, 36. Yeah, that would actually be enough to overtake, say, Team Falcons, who's in 32, has 32 points right now, and get closer to the top.
I also love seeing the ending right there from Shopify. The double swing from two of the members of Shopify to split attention onto what's in front of them. They knew that if they took that fight head on, they were going to lose at a positional disadvantage. Great comms there for Shopify as we dive into our final game of the day with such a close overall standing leaderboard within our first top two teams, Shopify and NRG, a 1-point difference between the two.
Yep, and as we look at our legend bans, our theory crafting does not come to pass. So Crypto is still in. It is actually Wraith who gets banned out next. And that means we've got Crypto back in for the last game. And that means there's going to be a lot of EMP pushes coming your way.
And we take those, and we take our final game here over by Broken Moon. Let the EMPs ring in your ear if they come through. No more raid, normal portal positions as we take a look at where Shopify land here and what they got in store for us, because they've been the silent killers, Gino. They've been getting the KP, but they just did not get the placement until our last game.
You're absolutely right. If we have a look at the series so far, Shopify Rebellion have picked up 35 kills, and I think it's 26 placement points. So definitely skewed in favor of the kills, whereas NRG are 50-50, 31 kills, 31 placement points.
Wow. Very even, and also highlights the consistency with NRG. Looking at them starting to make their rotate, because with the overhead on where this zone is going to be taking us, we're hanging out between underpass, it looks like, south of where 100 Thieves are going to be. There's going to be a ring console for them to access to if they have a Legends Arena. They do have a crypto, so they will, so they know exactly where that next zone is going to be pulling. Shout out to production here. Empire 2 over by Labs. North side of Foundry is VP already making their rotate out of getting that circle console too.
Yeah, NRG pulling over from the Divide. It was one of the last picked ones in our POI draft, I believe. Oh, actually, they took it at 30, which is a little bit higher than some of the other regions. I think Tiff was talking to us before about why some of the teams, weren't prioritizing that as highly as other POIs here on Broken Moon. But NRG have been making it work.
Now sliding down, CTE trying to take this fight. VP in trouble, by the way. Empire going to be able to get that knock on the Zach, but not letting go from this fight is Mav, who's going to be able to get that knock with those P20s, or rather that one P20 here from Jay. You get two of those members now, as they're going to be able to get the extra loot. Empire also looking to reset, still with the white Evo shields, not having access to the Evo Harvester just yet, but this is exactly how you start things off after finishing off Zach Mazer.
Yeah, and you always want to get those last kills, but as we've seen, teams are getting much, much better at disengaging and using the crafters to respawn, right? And that kind of sucks because you get a full team-wide bonus for finishing the squad off, and it really counts a lot towards your Evo and leveling up to purples.
Even worse, though, for VP is I don't even think there's a replicator for them to work with over by the Foundry here. Hopefully they're going to be able to get that if they can over to the north side. It looks like they were able to reset. Coming right behind Empire, while LG taking shots from the high ground. So yeah, there's some of these more of these squads that want to prioritize their rotate. That was Unleashed running away from them. Meanwhile, LG are going to go to the abandoned terraformer because so many squads had already moved over from the east to west side of the map. They're going to be able to get that ring console over by terraformer too and just play objective.
I mean, plenty of teams happy to play that style, right? Playing for third beacon, and then just hoping that the zone wasn't too easily readable, and that they can force their way into a very good spot. Oh no, FURIA, who were looking like they were coming back into the series, sitting in 8th spot in 31 when you've got some easily obtainable places ahead of you with just a few points. Going down early here would be disastrous.
Not wanting to risk that here too. You were on the cusp of being in that 7th place spot, now in 8th, trying to get away from Spectre Esports, wrapping around. And if they do commit to that rotate, remember LG was by terraformer when they wanted to get either the survey beacon or even the ring console there for them to work with, and so is Complexity. So hearing that in the distance to see if they could try to reset, while NRG settling in exactly where they want to see Nice Guys, trying to prevent them from getting the scan. With the zone closing in, though, this is going to be a very long trek for NRG to decide whether they want to take this fight versus Nice Guys or inevitably run into either Leave No Withers or Complexity in the zone.
Yeah, so I think basically Nice Guys see that the survey beacon has been popped, and about turn, they're going to take a different route into the zone. They definitely don't want to push up that hill. It's a very steep one, and NRG would most likely get the better of them. Which is sad for NRG, because obviously every kill in this game matters when you're only 1 point ahead of your opposition, Shopify Rebellion.
That's such a good point, especially if Shopify could get into a way better spot. And they're already in the middle of all the chaos, too. They're in the middle of that next zone, right next to Team Orchid, Envy, Purple Slushee, Fusion. Envy now move up. Nice smoke just to block out their line of sight so that way they can close in the gap, followed up by the EMP from Dropped. Huge nades now coming in from Zap. He'll take a little bit of that pressure, that damage from the Thermite, just so that way he can keep it up here, looking at the squall that just dropped down from below, but doesn't want to overextend. It's not like they can even play the altar, right? The altar's been banned since E-District, so they won't be able to come right back up as quickly utilizing that zip line.
Does make it a little bit harder to make these sort of pushes without the benefit of the void passage. Envy was someone I had my eye on at the start of the day. They've been a little more disappointing than I was expecting. So we've got one more game to potentially make up for that. Kind of depends where this next ring pulls. They're within ring 3. But it would have to be a big pullback to actually make it all the way up to underpass and where Envy is sitting.
NRG still outside of zone 2, taking their time through Eternal Garden, playing objective. CTE getting that finishing blow after getting 2 knocks onto Orchid. Not feeling themselves a bit here too. Finding some of these shots with the flatline, the P20s, and Team Orchid just stuck in the middle of the canyon in the line of sight of 3 different teams is not going to end well. They get taken out of your lobby.
That is tough. Team Orchid go out. I mean, it was, I think, where were they on the overall leaderboard? They were sitting in 10th, so average day for them, I suppose, in their first week under the new org.
Trying to find their footing out here too, being the first squad to go out though of this lobby. Difficult rotate for them. While you take a look at the other teams, NRG still in that zone, gonna have to wrap around to avoid Nice Guys who are gonna gatekeep them because they have a survey beacon so they could see where they're currently situated in. Same thing for FURIA, who were able to get the reset, by the way, over by Atmos Station, utilizing that replicator. Waiting for them on the other side. It could be complexity, leave no witness. But my focus, though, Genome, is on that northern congestion spot. Corinthians, Fusion, ACP, who are blocking out that survey beacon from other teams from rotating from that north side, as well as Shopify and Purple Slushee.
Yeah, production yard could be a bit of a flashpoint coming up soon. We see NRG in the zone at the moment. I don't know if I really agree with how slow they're playing this. I don't think there's any particular reason why they should have to play that far back, unless they were, I don't know, grabbing some extra Evo caches just to guarantee purple or something like that. But even just looking at this, there's 2 or 3 on the way into the ring. So yeah, I don't know. They're really leaving it late, leaving things up to chance. I think when you can run into a team who just creeps you and keeps you on the edge of zone, and you know, then it's impossible to reset. I don't know, but we'll have to see if they can find a spot as good as they did in the last zone. Obviously, they made it work when we went up to Alpha Base. This zone does look like it's actually pulling more towards experimental labs.
Yeah, a little bit more on that southern side of the choke, but it's still 2, or rather 3, honestly, big chokes that teams would have to fight through, depending on where they situated themselves. Even better for the teams that are hugging that ring console and survey beacon. Over on the south side, where we saw earlier MPIRE and VP fight for. Infusion, letting it rain from above with the Sheila. You got the charge rifle and the 6 times. Chestack's just going to be able to hide right behind that amp barrier from the rampart. Feeling right at home here for Trev.
I mean, one of the nice things about the new arsenals is that if you're picking up the sniper rifle, you can at the very least guarantee yourself a 6x if you try and upgrade it from the sniper arsenal. You'll be gifted that side.
From that far is crazy over here. Trav just looking at the team right below him, and he's getting shot at like 300 meters out. While hanging out on the high ground and looking at the teams moving in from the south side, though. NRG being one of the squads coming out of quarantine zone, and again, mirroring them is going to be nice, guys. They have noted NRG's rotate after they previously scanned the survey beacon, and they still will have circle position advantage over NRG on this rotate.
Yeah, and if they play this well, they can use spots like this donut, sorry, not the donut, the pyramid, I know shapes, to really keep them out here. And as you can see, Bang ult goes down. That might be on the side of NRG. Nice guys are not running Bang. So yeah, that's a sort of defensive Bang ult there by NRG, just to try and see if that allows them a spot inside the zone. But Yanya goes down first. That's not a good start.
Yanya was in a bad position too, and they just aped him when they saw how low he was. The rest of NRG were over to the north side, and Nice Guys don't want to give him the opportunity to reset. With Cody playing the Rev and how aggressive we've seen him play in general, that's going to be it for NRG. Nice Guys mirroring their rotate, waiting for the opportunity to catch him on the edge of zone, and there's no third party in the vicinity too, so Nice Guys now can loot. They're going to reset. There's a ring console survey if they hadn't already hit those already, and now are going to be able to get into that next zone.
Yeah, now remember, 9 Lies in 3rd position on 43 points. They would need an absolute banger game to even try and overtake 1st or 2nd. What this means now is Shopify Rebellion need to win 1 fight. So we're watching Leave No Witness get into this with 100 Thieves.
The massive ping, though, playing right behind the Nox. He gets the crack. Panic is low. He tries to get the finishing blow. He popped the shoot, but at the same time, he gets the end, the finisher onto Jen Burden. Panic. Little panicked himself right now. Going to be able to just back away, show bad. Time to reset. You hear the pings from his team, just trying to give him more information. Phony's still in the same corner, but he knows that there's another team looking at him. What? Another team also shot at him from the distance, and Phony just let it happen. He did that on purpose. He saw the bullets outside their doorway still coming in their direction.
That is such a 5-head play.
Watch, he didn't even try to plan that. I'm going to give him credit because that's exactly what it looked like. Why else are you waiting there, not popping a med kit, right? Yeah. That was crazy. See if they can try to get that reset while Complexity having to look behind them, though. Be careful. Monsoon was one. And here comes Furia just getting the jump. But Complexity have the advantage. Big nades. Even with that EMP, though, they live Complexity one. This is definitely winnable, and it is. Furia with Nox still alive. Take out Complexity, but good luck getting into that zone. You're Rolling Thunder taking them out here, but Furia was going to die anyways. Look who was waiting for them on the edge of the zone.
9 lives go down as well. Oh my god, we just lost so many big teams. And what I was going to say before that fight started was Shopify only need to get to 10th place to guarantee the win. In fact, they've got to #1 now. Let's tune into them and see if they're already celebrating.
This might be a solo bang, by the way, guys. He's playing really, really split.
There's no solos, no solos.
That's outside. Can we look?
Yeah.
Bro, honestly, I think...
I'm waiting for the Spectre Sphere.
We're
10:30. Every team is full.
We're just gonna have to walk in low ground.
I think the production yard team's gonna fight over here. I think we look to third. They don't know. Nobody knows we're here. We got a care getting picked from up here.
Coy's gonna have ballistic off for this guy.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna bang on left and probably third right if we're gonna third right.
Yeah, if they fight here, we third this. We definitely third right.
We should have walk in, let production run out and fight, and we can probably third that. There's gonna be people running in here, okay?
I've got Watson Jen as well.
We're also in up there, like pretty much up there, Matt.
Okay.
I just don't know how good it is.
They're playing like over here. There should be a fight. There should be a fight here.
Bro, that's gotta be a solo, guys.
No, 10:30.
I'm fucking brain dead. He's playing so split.
They're fighting now. We can sprint in here. We can sprint in here.
We should put that and let this top left team fight them, bro.
Creeper team's looking for that team.
Yeah, I know. It's perfect. Let them slide. We're gonna EMP fight. Okay. Can you find me for now? I'm so safe here. Hide from right here.
I'm gonna ult soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pop it.
I'm running up here. Now.
I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Come, play down. I think we still third right. No, do you want to? Unless
I like right. I'm gonna pop it now.
You saw.
Right's looking at us.
Bingo thing. Skydiving them, chill. I'm gonna skydive. We can fight it.
I'm fighting. Can we switch left? They got fuse holder, I think.
Wait. My bingo. Yeah, no, we're not bingo.
I'm adding. I'm adding.
Working, you guys. You good?
Yeah, I'm checking. I gotta
walk in. Need to walk in.
Yeah, we gotta get to the fence. Where are we in? We play here?
I'm playing. Yeah, playing you. Look left. They're fighting left. Play left, Coy. Chill. We're in.
I'm shooting
my side.
I'm scanning it.
Just chill. Play still. They're fighting.
The passions in the comms for Shopify. Great tactic right there to push onto that team with a charge of Rampage. Ballistic Unleash. Purple Slushee to their left. Sending out that nade. Koifel still trying to give them suppressed fire.
The charged up Rampage is such a deterrent to other teams that even though they can tell Shopify is not in an ideal situation, they still don't want to take on Zainu while he's in Tempest. Now, Pluto Reality, who's been putting people down all day, actually takes too much damage and gives Shopify an opening.
Meets their maker at the hands of Koifel, who's been the kill leader of this lobby, of this series throughout the course of the day. They take care of Purple Slushee, and here comes Fusion now moving up to try to 3P this. Coming in on the other side, though. Shopify, it's only Koifel, and he clutches it! Shopify, Koifel, you're built different! With 5 KP to his name, 4 squads left in Shopify. They don't have to worry about a 4P because they're uncontested on the north side.
Fully 2v3. Shopify truly are a level above. Koifel almost up to 900 damage. And actually, while we were in that listening, you were talking about Mav, because I just had a quick look at the stats. He's currently on 1700 damage in this particular game. So obviously, impressive stuff coming out from Koifel there, but there's a couple of other monsters on the map that they need to put down. Well, CT has gone out already now. We're in a top 4. That's happened very, very quickly as Shopify try and move in and get involved in the rest of this, but the other 3 teams are actually situated quite healthily by themselves, so there's a lot of time and focus to be spent on Shopify as the last ones into the zone.
With Shopify being over to the north side, losing out on some teammates already. VP looking at them unleash MPIRE. VP looking at both Unleash and Shopify as Shopify get eliminated. It was a matter of time, but they put on the points on the board that they needed. Meanwhile, MPIRE also being able to get the knocks.
Yes, Shopify with that clutch secure their first place for the day. Impressive stuff. Now we've got 3 teams left. Empire, Unleash, and Virtus.pro all jockeying for position. A good finish from Empire here could potentially catapult them above VP, who are currently in 5th place. And wow, actually Unleash in 20th. So they've certainly got some spots that they could climb as well. Even a single point would help move them up.
Empire still playing this safe, getting the loot that they needed off of the death box that they just were able to secure. The distance, Carter with that 30-30. Looking at Unleash while VP still taking up the entire east side of this zone space. Moving up though, Riley still has the Blue Evo show to keep note of.
After everyone ganged up on Shopify, they've sort of taken their time to initiate the next phase of the fight. And yeah, Zach Mazak getting the first kill. EMP, always the trigger to start something to make it happen. But the bang ult just as good in defense as the EMP is in offense.
And pop the ballistic ult too on the high ground. Empire looking at VP, stuck behind the crates, behind the bins, having to get back into that zone. They lose out on Lord of the Rings. Lou called him out with the rampage, and here they go. Lou, he said, can I move up? Can I close in the space? But didn't want to risk it even after getting that initial knock because they cannot forget about Unleash.
Oh, Carter, just before he gets behind cover, will be taken down. VP, I think, might have this one wrapped up.
In the bag they go, sliding in with confidence and getting the finishing blow. VP are your final game winners of our Groups B versus C series.
Kind of easy in the end. And yeah, look, VP, considering a great place, a great placing last week, they backed it up. Are they going to be first place in the NA region after this week of Pro League? That's an interesting prospect, and I think something that I personally wouldn't have expected.
This is really interesting to study. VP and the way that they handle Broken Moon has just been phenomenal. Like the way that they feel very confident on the map, the way that they've been taking their rotates, the timing to their fights, knowing when to be aggressive, has allowed VP to move up in the overall standings today and to allow them to get some great 3 games here on Broken Moon.
Well, Tiff, how you doing? How do you enjoy those games? There's some crazy stuff going on. Insane clutch from Koifel there.
Oh, listening to you guys absolutely lose it after the listen-in for Shopify Rebellion, I was just like, this is what we have to look forward to. This is the final game leading into New Orleans. And then VP closing it out, which is very consistent with the games that we were witnessing on Broken Moon in match day number 2. I was like, look, if we're pulling down towards the southwestern side of things, VP from Foundry, VP with the W. Here's the match 6 results, 18 points in that final game of the day, which you gotta think, E-District started off relatively slow for them, so hopefully this puts them in a really nice spot on the series results later in. But can we just talk about that 10 KP for Shopify Rebellion? I wrote down Kings of the North. Just wanna,
they're defending the wall out here for real, because I don't even know. Shopify really came out to, if I agree, 10 KP. I mean, CTE too. I was talking to Gino when we did the listening. That map was just popping off in the kill feed with the Kraber too. So CTE definitely making a statement too.
Ooh, as we jump on over to the series results, Virtus.pro launched themselves up into a top 3 positioning. So 2nd in match day 2, 3rd in match day 3. That is really nice performance from Virtus.pro, but Shopify Rebellion, this one hurts for NRG. Right, going out with 0 points in game number 6 Genome, just knowing that they almost had this one in the bag, but at the end of the day, it's Shopify Rebellion who just clutch it up.
Yeah, a little bit sad for NRG, but they were relying pretty heavily on that, what was it, game 5, where they had the big pop off. Whereas Shopify, I think, probably deserved it considering how consistent they were in just picking up 5 plus kills a game and really stacking it on. Well, actually, what's that? No, I'm not going to do maths. I'm too tired for that. But yeah, look, 45 kills over the day is very, very solid. And I think when you talk to people about their expectations for NA Pro League, you know, it's Falcons, it is Shopify Rebellion, and probably like 100 Thieves in the teams that people are expecting to be consistent and at the top of the table. So Shopify taking it out here is not a shock to anyone, really.
Oh, definitely not. Well, we've officially completed one round robin for the majority of our regions here. Let's go ahead and look at the overall standings before we head into the ALGS Open. It is VP at the top with 2 series played, 39 total points. Shopify Rebellion in second, 36, and Falcons 32. Like, yeah, we still have a lot of the heavy hitting names and those big organizations that are at the top. But what is next, Vicky?
I mean, just off that performance alone, seeing VP go from like 6th to 1st, this is awesome. To see the Legend Vans, to see what these different maps have done to some of these teams, it really highlights how many outside factors there are in Apex Legends that cultivate the best squads.
It's just been so much fun. Let's go ahead and run back the final circle of game number 6 one more time. I don't know if we need to slow anything down like we did with that on Moose Cersei 1v1, but we'll actually, maybe we do. Anytime there's a Kraber in hand, you really have to just slow it down. There's nothing better than that, Genome.
Oh, it's always a good time seeing Shopify Rebellion grab a couple of their kills. And I mean, yeah, this particular sequence here was just insane. Like, that knock onto Pluto opened things up. And yeah, Koifel in conjunction with MT winning the 2v3 here is just disgusting.
Even here, like, this is what the accelerators on the P2020s do for you. Like, MT on the Watson, constantly having access to a generator, throwing down the shield swaps, the timing of everything. It's a shame they don't make it out of there, because I would have loved to see what they could have brought to the table. But towards the end, in the final fight where Virtus.pro clean things up, man, what a journey that we've had thus far across EMEA today, earlier in the action, into Americas now that we've kind of finished things up. I want to see what that Sony in-zone kill leaderboard is looking like. Our players, they love to tout when they've got all of the kills, but who is it going to be? And quite frankly, it's all Shopify Rebellion all day at the top, Vicky.
Wow, I mean, I'm not surprised whatsoever. Koifel leading the pack with 19, Zainu MT tying for 13. So is Pluto, though. Gotta give a shout out to Purple Slushee, with Pluto really having his own individual pop-off moments, getting 13 himself. Phony from 100's Thieves. But I love seeing the double-digit KP count here too, Tiff, because it also highlights how kill-heavy we've seen so many of these lobbies within the Americas.
Oh my gosh, just give us more, honestly. There's that win from earlier. They had a 20-point dub in game number 5, and we have to go back through this because Purple Slushee was playing spoiler in the earlier parts of our series, where they were looking like a formidable force on those fights, and then it's MT, Koifel. And hey, Treb stacks in January. How many times did we see January play spoiler to a lot of our 1v1s when being chased? Well, here's Koifel. Meet your maker at that point, closing things out. Where do we see the shield swap come through? Do we get it? The new kill leader right there. Zainu getting picked back up. Dude, I almost started screaming. I was like, if I get up and throw my chair back, this whole green screen's going down. Like, we are in for it here on a Sunday night.
And I mean, like, at 19 kills, he's not breaking any records, right, in terms of series kill leaders, but the quality of the kills was impressive. And what we saw him do in those fights was swinging it around and making sure that Shopify ended up with the 25 split points today.
Yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. That's all I'm going to say about that sequence of events. But we've got to get someone in here from Shopify Rebellion. I want to break it down a bit more. And we do have MT joining us. So MT, congratulations on your match 3 performance. It was so cool to witness. I've got to know, how are you feeling in that entire rotation at the end of game 6?
To be honest, as soon as we got a kill on 100 Thieves earlier, and we got 1 kill 15th, and we knew NRG died early, so we were kind of just already knew we'd won the day. So going in, we were just like playing with confidence, just playing for kills.
Can we talk about this? This is the second time today that we have heard it's the confidence that matters, right? We heard that in EMEA with Zuni, and then the first thing you say is confidence. Now, leading into the ALGS Open, that confidence that you guys already have, we know you can perform well at LAN. Do you think this could lead into a potential LAN win, given all the crazy changes we've seen in year 5?
Of course. I mean, we were unbelievably close to winning champs. We won 2 games in finals. We died to a bug first game. If that didn't happen, we might have won the whole thing. So going into this land, we know we're capable of winning and we're super confident.
And how has been the legend bans influenced by your team? You know, you guys are fragging out in this entire lobby. You guys are able to make the adjustments that you need. Broken Moon being that map that you needed at the very end. I mean, how has that influenced the comms in your team and how you guys have gone about things?
I don't think it's really changed much, to be honest. Koi and Zainu and myself are all capable of playing any character, so we just play whatever everybody's most comfortable on, and I don't think it's really changed much for our team.
All right. I mean, obviously, you know, I've been watching you for a very long time now, MT. And at the start of your career, it was definitely look. That was like an I'm old laugh. I know that one. Anyway, at the start of your career, right, it was definitely a much more zone-heavy kind of IGL play style, right? And now you've found Koi and Zainu, and it's like it would be a complete waste not to be like the hardest edge team with those guys on your squad. So how was that transition from you for you going from one play style to another, and how much further do you think you can take that?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like one of those changes that just happened where eventually I was just like more confident to take fights on Edge. I think I started playing Edge back with Waltzy and Guild back on Moist at LA. We played like Echo Stacks Mord, like hard Edge, and then I went back to Zone with Guild, and then when I started playing with Koi and Zainu again, we just went back to Edge. And the main thing is like just whatever like the meta suits. So with Newcastle, Rampart, Gibby, like there was no reason to go to Zone because you can just slam anywhere on that comp at any point. So we just played hard Edge, looted up, and it was like pretty comfortable switch. Like I don't think there was really any adjusting. And now with like the Snake Draft, we just play Edge, and like we even played Zone on the Broken Moon just then. So just whatever whatever we can play either. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's great that you can be that flexible, I guess. My last question then would be going from say the NA Pro League like we saw today to a potential LAN finals lobby with legend bans. Do you think you can still play that style in such a high pressure lobby with every good team that exists in ALGS?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've done it before in LAN finals, so I don't see why this one would be any different.
There's that confidence again, Genome. It's right there. Like just completely cold. I love it. Honestly, it's been really cool to see kind of everything that you've been doing, especially today. But leading into New Orleans, and we know that we've got international scrims and LAN scrims coming up. Is there anything you and the team are working on in particular leading up to the ALGS Open?
I think we worked on a lot of different things leading up to this week of Pro League. So I think we're just going to continue playing how we're playing and not really change anything. We're feeling good at the moment.
Perfect. All right. Well, business as usual. I wish you the best of luck in New Orleans. Before I let you go and celebrate the day, any shout outs you want to give across the way?
Shout out my teammates, Zainu, Don, Koi. They're all insane.
Insane indeed. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I can't wait to see what New Orleans looks for you. Thank you so much for joining us on the desk, and have a great rest of your evening.
Cheers, you too.
Dude is locked. That's all I gotta say, Vicky, Gino. Like, that is, we just won. We're ready to win more, and I can't wait to keep on doing it. So now that we've kind of had our wrap up of our 6 games, match day number 3. Oh man, Vicky, across all regions, it's been intense. But what's your biggest takeaway before we head on over to the ALGS Open?
It's crazy to see what a playstyle difference we are being exposed to again across multiple regions. Like, we saw 9 Lives pop off on, I believe it was E-District. They had taken like 2 games in general. They needed only 1 more to get that extra point. They didn't get it. But then seeing the KP flowing between NRG, Shopify, VP coming in for that last clutch dub, it's crazy to see how things have shifted so significantly within the ALGS. And that means that we are in for a treat in New Orleans.
I feel like things are going to keep on shifting for sure. But Gino, like you said in your interview there with MT, we've got to witness a lot of these teams grow and adapt in real time. And with the changes in year 5, like, what are your overall thoughts from today before we head on over to the Bayou area?
Yeah, I mean, having to adapt is going to be a key part of ALGS in Year 5. If you look at the legend compositions that were played across the entire series in NA today, the highest pick rate of a composition was 13% for Alter, Castle, and Catalyst and Newcastle. And that's because teams are having to pick different comps every game, every week. So it's really fascinating to just see, you know, can a team be a defensive team at the start? Like MT said, you know, even trying to play zone when you're a Shopify Rebellion really speaks to just how flexible they are. And this year is all about being flexible and being able to just roll with these changes and make the most of them. So those teams will be rewarded, and that team was Shopify today.
Definitely was. Once again, congratulations to Shopify. NRG there almost had it, in VP getting into the top 3. But thank you both. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your evening. It's been an absolute blast to share the desk alongside y'all. But you guys know what? We're still going to keep things moving here, because we're not done. The next time we meet, it's live from New Orleans at the ALGS Open, May 1st through 4th at the Ernest N. Morale Convention Center. The tickets still available, so go ahead and scan that QR code if you've never witnessed Apex Legends in LAN form. Like, what are you doing? It is so insane to hear the celebrations when the lights go out and that champion winner at the end of the week getting to hoist the trophy around all of the pyrotechnics. There is no greater feeling. But for now, that's pretty much everything we've got here. We had EMEA earlier today. We wrapped up the Americas. Shout out to our amazing broadcast team, Vicky and Genome, for crushing the casting. And most of all, you at home for supporting Apex Legends. We wouldn't be doing this without any of y'all across the way throughout all of the watch parties, our content creators, our competitors. You make this a home that is such a blast to be a part of. We're going to see you guys live from New Orleans in just a few short weeks, and we'll catch you then.